right behind you.
Hi, I'm Avital Ash.
I'm Jessica Richards.
And this is
He's right behind you.
Today on the podcast. We have a very special first-time guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Brendan Clifford.
Hello, Brendan.
Hello.
Thanks for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Brendan is a writer and an actor,
Mm-hmm.
and also will one day break out as a singer, maybe.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I'm a director as well, but it's been a while.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
cool.
for sure. Well, get ready to star in an incredible project.
I'm down.
Great.
I'm ready.
All right.
Is there anything else you want people to know about you?
I'm Ginger.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
I have an identical twin,
Oh, right.
Ooh.
I knew that, but I wasn't thinking about it right now.
and I'm a very sensual person.
I feel like there's a good horror movie you could make with your twin.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
twins are always scary.
They are.
Okay.
No offense.
No offense. That's like saying
Yeah, I know.
brunettes are always scary.
Has
Yeah.
there been a movie where twins were not the scary ones? Where twins were
You
like
mean a horror movie where they're not, or a movie in general?
in general, in the
Yes,
cinema.
there have definitely been twins portrayed on
But
the
I mean, like,
silver
I wonder if
screen
there's
that
a horror
aren't for
movie
horror
where
movies.
the twins are the like main characters and they're not scary.
Well, arguably The Witch, but you thought they were the scariest characters.
They were definitely the scariest
I
characters.
don't even
in The
remember
Witch.
there were twins in The Witch.
Yeah.
I clearly don't remember as much about The Witch as I thought I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, they
You
were
can go
boy and
back.
girl twins.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's
it's
not
different.
real. Those are siblings.
Born at the same time.
Yeah, that's not special. Twins have an eerie and spiritual connection that is unlike what any of you could ever experience.
I want one. I want a
It's
twin.
too late.
I
You
know.
should have said that earlier.
But nobody asked me before I
Aw.
was born.
Well,
Is there anything you want people to watch or listen to or check you out? I mean, we'll do like social media plugs at the end, but
I mean, I guess you could watch a show that I wrote and acted on called Nightcap, which is available
Yeah.
on Hulu. It's a hilarious
oh, I didn't know it was
fun
on Hulu.
show. It's on
I know it
both
was a pop
two
series.
seasons. It's a
Awesome.
Pop's first original scripted series.
Very cool.
Which they won't tell you about. They want you to think it's Schitt's Creek.
Oh.
And much love to Schitt's Creek, but it was Nightcap.
Wow.
I always love Pop because they reshow Young and the Restless at night.
That's,
Jessica's
I
really
think,
into
what a lot of
soaps.
people think Pop does. Yeah, and they do.
And you got to do some really cool stuff, it seems like, on that show.
I did. I got to work with an incredible group of actors as the cast. I got to work with an incredible slew of celebrities.
Who are
and
your favorites?
My favorites? Geez. I really loved having Gwyneth Paltrow on.
Yeah,
Ooh.
And I got to do a scene with her.
that's awesome.
I got to
Was
do
she
it-
just like stunningly pretty in person?
She really was. She like the two people I've worked with that took my breath away were her and Charlize Theron.
yeah.
And I was like, how are you this beautiful in person when
That's
you're not even
crazy.
But
necessarily
that's like
trying?
Gwyneth Paltrow. I've
Yeah.
heard her say that she like works out 5 hours a day. She does all these like where she eats like only the best things, no sugar, all this stuff. Where it's like I can't imagine how pretty she is in person.
And she
with all
came
that.
ready too, so I don't know what she wakes up looking like, but she
Mm-hmm.
looked like she floated in on a breath,
Oh my
I believe it.
God's breath.
And she looks like she would be beautiful without makeup. Like you said,
Oh.
who knows what she put on already, but I feel like
I mean,
it
we're
doesn't
all
matter.
beautiful without makeup.
Thank you, Brendan.
So-
Eh.
That's what I was fishing for.
I
And
said
yeah,
we,
Charlize Theron.
not you. You're included in we.
Yeah, but I was thankful. I sounded for a second like I was going to be excluded from we.
No, not at all. Not at all. You're a gorgeous person.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So were they your favorites just for their beauty, or were there other favorites?
No, their beauty was beside the point. But Charlize was not on Nightcap. That was a different show. But
Okay.
I also loved Tim Gunn. I loved. God, I'd have to look at the list. There's literally like 1 to 3 every episode
I
for
remember
2
Paul
seasons.
Rudd is in some.
Paul Rudd was great. Michael J. Fox, Jim
Very cool.
Gaffigan,
Very
Jim
nice.
Norton was really fun. Sarah Jessica Parker,
I remembered
Alec
her too.
Baldwin.
I met him once and he was really funny and charming.
Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was that with us too. I
Great.
don't know. I've almost exclusively had good experiences with celebrities, and I've ended up by circumstantial chance working with a lot of them, and
Was that
Yeah.
here or was that in New York?
that was in New York.
Thanks for the dish.
Yeah, of course.
What is your relationship with horror, Brendan?
I have a very jumpy relationship with horror. I enjoy horror a lot. I'm not a horror fanatic. Like, I'm not what I would call a horror nerd, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I just mean I'm not, I don't devour it. I don't obsess over it, but I really enjoy it when I watch it. I scare easily. I jump and scream, and
Oh, I'd love to hear you scream during a movie.
well, we're talking about a movie today with some really choice screams.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
maybe you'll get a little taste. But yeah, I'm not like a gore person, but I do enjoy being taken on a ride that it creates sensations that I'm not having in my normal life.
Well said.
Like I was obsessed with Requiem for a Dream for a while when it came out when I was a youngster, and it was still the movie I've seen in theaters the most times. I think I saw
Wow.
it 5 times,
Oh my goodness.
including in New York City after it left the theaters in Connecticut. I wouldn't go in to see it, but when I would go in, I would make sure to see it also because I was just like addicted to this roller coaster of horror emotions, just all these emotions that I was like, how do I access this except through that? And
That's so
that was
funny.
how I
To
was
me, it's a
doing it.
movie where I'm like, it's a great movie. I don't want to sit through it again. Have you seen
Yeah.
Jennifer Kent's new movie?
Jennifer Kent?
She did The Babadook, and her new movie
Oh.
is, what is it called?
I know you keep looking at me, but I didn't see it.
Oh, The Nightingale.
No, but I heard about it and I wanted to see it, and I saw it and liked the Babadook.
I probably will never watch The Nightingale again, but I wonder if it's something
Oh.
that you would watch multiple times.
Oh, well, if it accesses parts of my emotions.
Oh,
then
it does.
Okay,
I'd
I
love
look
to hear
forward to
your
watching it
thoughts.
at least once.
Yeah, check it out. Do you have a favorite horror movie?
Well, there are so many categories of
Yeah,
horror.
that's
So it's
true.
like, are we talking about the ones that are like Academy Award worthy, like your Shinings, your Rosemary's Babies, your I don't know, Nightmare
Get
Before
Out is
Christmases,
Academy Award winning now.
Silence of the
Academy Award
Lambs.
winning Get Out,
Silence of the Lambs.
great. So among those, like it's hard to
Your
pick.
personal favorites. It doesn't have to be like what is objectively considered the best movies. Just
But
what
I
are your
mean, like
favorites?
that's a category, and then there's also like campy horror, and there's
Well, what's
gory
your
horror.
favorite? What do you prefer?
It depends on the mood,
Yeah,
It's like it's like ask me what my favorite food is.
Oh, sushi, chocolate chip cookies. There's
Chips
my
and salsa.
answer.
But those are two
Chips and
different
salsa?
things.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
Yeah,
food.
but you can give a
I'm
couple
a cookie
answers.
monster. If
Oh,
we're here to talk about monsters,
cookies.
I'm a cookie
Love cake too.
monster.
Mashed potatoes used to be those were my 3 favorites, but lately they haven't been. I haven't had good mashed potatoes in a long time.
Wow. I mean, I guess I would go with a good lasagna with a lot of ricotta and chocolate
Ooh.
chip cookies and maybe ice cream.
Wow.
Obsessed with those things.
All right. See, it wasn't that hard.
And
So now do it
marzipan.
for movies.
Anyone who knows me from dating apps knows I'm a marzipan
Wow.
queen.
I did not know that.
That's on the dating app.
It's on the dating app. Oh, for sure.
loves
It's on my
marzipan.
Twitter also, I think.
Really?
At Brendan, please.
Yeah.
They got
I'll
lots
have
of
you
that at
repeat
World
it.
Market. That's the only place I know where you get marzipan.
I don't know where.
Well,
you
I
get
don't usually
marzipan.
go get like just like chunks of marzipan, but I like things
At
that
World
have
Market, you
marzipan.
Like a cake.
I mean, I would. It's best to have in the house, of course, for
Yeah,
guests if
Of
guests
course.
come over.
Just marzipan.
Folgers and marzipan.
As you do.
I was raised right. I know how to entertain.
So what's your marzipan of horror movies / ricotta lasagna? Are there like a handful? Also, if you
I
don't
made a
know,
list.
we can.
Oh, yay, good.
Let's see if this list stands up. So okay, so
I
there's
love
like
lists.
Yeah.
I
me
really
too.
love something like a Beetlejuice, like that's like
Mhm.
creepy and
Funny.
and dark and takes place in that kind of setting, but is funny and clever and creative. I also like the things that scared me, like Poltergeist has distinct trauma
Mm-hmm.
for me. So that, and I think it's
Is that
really
the scariest
good.
movie you think you've ever seen? I know this is not an easy
I don't
question.
know. It's really not. I was trying to think of things that scared me as a kid, and like I got really freaked out at parts of like Temple of Doom,
Mhm.
like when he's like taking the guy's heart out.
Yeah.
And
Jessica, horror movie?
Eh.
wow, I
usually
thought
says
you say
yes.
yes
Yeah.
for
I know, I
everything.
usually do. I don't know if Temple of Doom.
I know.
It's
I don't.
more
I don't know if
actiony.
It is.
do
It's an
either.
action. It isn't, but like
That's
that.
a very scary moment.
That
though.
that
Yeah.
haunts me, and like there's
Right.
a Pearl Jam song that haunts me, and like
Ooh,
it
which
things like-
Jeremy?
Pearl Jam song?
it's not Jeremy. It's the one that ends with doo 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 doo.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's haunting to me too because there was a story that I don't think is true that I'd heard about it that I really connected to. That's a Painted Black, Fade to Black. No, something. Right? Isn't it something black?
I was gonna look it
Tattooed
up before I came
everything.
here. I don't remember what
It's
song
something
it is.
black. It
I
might
mean, I
just be
used to
called
listen to
Black.
Pearl Jam a lot, so I should know. But
I think
it
it's
was
called Black.
tied to it because my brother would torture me with this when we were kids. It was like actually a mix of the Temple of Doom scene and that song, where he would sing that part of it and then reach out and try to like take my heart out of my chest, like the guy in Temple of Doom does. And so they're tied together for me
Yeah.
as
So
like
funny.
That's
how I
amazing.
have to get out of this situation before I die.
Yeah. Wow, that's great.
And did you ever see Fire in the Sky, which is not necessarily a horror
yes,
movie,
that one is scary.
but it is a scary
Oh,
movie.
very scary.
It's about aliens.
It's about someone
Oh.
who gets abducted by aliens and then comes back and people don't believe him.
And I do believe
Oh.
the boy from E.T. as an adult is one of the stars of it.
I like him. a
I
lot.
remember seeing that as a kid and being terrified.
It was terrifying.
Yeah, because they like torture him.
Torture's
And
hard
and
for
just
me,
the
but
images of
aliens are
the
usually not.
aliens, like where they like the pods of them
Mhm.
all there, and it was
And everyone
very
thinks
upsetting.
he's crazy.
Yeah, the not being believed is really scary to me. For some reason, aliens have never scared
Well,
me.
it's someone who's gone through a trauma
Right.
and it's like they're gonna come back and everyone's like, you're crazy.
yeah.
It's
that's scary.
really scary.
Would you consider it a horror?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I,
think
as a
so.
kid, I remember being terrified by
Yeah.
it.
It's funny how there are things I've mentioned on here before that there was like a moment in an episode of Full House that scared me to where I ran out of the room. But that's not a horror. But yeah, there are like there's
well,
just
'cause,
moments.
Yeah, and it is interesting what defines it. I mean, also, do you guys know the movie The Gate?
It came up on
Yes.
here before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, my brother recently reminded me. He sent me like some clips of it. I was like, I can play this whole movie in my head, but I don't know what it is.
Uh-huh.
And that is what it is, and that was always a big thing.
It was Benji or Steven who said that scared them
That's
the
why
most.
we're best friends.
Yeah. You should meet them. They're great.
Yeah, Benji and Steven, we have to meet.
They're awesome. You'll love them.
Like, and like Return to Oz is that a horror movie by accident or on purpose?
Right.
And like can't be like whatever happened to Baby Jane, like stuff
I think
like
that counts as a horror movie.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
feel
I
like
don't know
I've seen
because
it on horror list.
it only
I think
has like a
so.
couple of minor things that qualify as like horror-y things,
Right.
like
But
when
there's
she
so
serves
many
her the
lists that
rat.
are like that.
You what?
There's so many that are like so many horror films. Like we just did Freaks on here, and like most of that movie is not a horror movie,
Right.
and then it's like the very last 2 minutes is what makes it a horror movie.
Well, and like
Right.
Rosemary's Baby only has like most of it's just like a psychological like
Drama.
drama, and
Yeah.
it
I feel that way
happens
about
that
The
like some of that is
Exorcist, too.
caused by devil worshippers, but
Yeah.
and there's like the dream sequence, and then there's the end. Most of the rest of the movie
Right.
is just a woman having some complications with her pregnancy and her marriage,
Right.
uh,
I think my
and
favorite.
getting skinny, which is
That part
I
where they're
welcome a horror like that.
first you lose a lot of weight, then you plump up. Was like that's not how pregnancy works.
Do you have an image either from a movie, a book, something in your imagination, or a life experience that you think is the scariest?
I mean, like scary moments or images from
Yeah.
movies.
From movies
From
It
movies
can be
or
anything.
life. Yeah.
We're opening it up.
Yeah.
or life. You really
Yeah.
are. That
We're
is
opening it up,
open.
but-
Or a dream.
Yeah, okay,
anything.
so
What's-
it's subconscious, psyche,
Yeah, from anywhere.
actual reality, and fiction
which
content.
you gave us a good one
content.
with the Pearl Jam song and the hand reaching.
Yeah.
That's good.
I had a nightmare that haunted me forever. I used to be terrified of my mom dying and being left alone also, but also losing my actual mom. It's about you, Mom, if you're listening.
Aw.
But I was very scared of that. And so I would have nightmares of like her like being dead and me having to like figure things out. Or not. I had one that I'll always remember about waking up and my family is like being burned alive in the house by this like crazy guy with like a fire gun, and I had to like go hide in the ventilation ducts and like try to save myself or something like that. I have images from that haunt me always. I also I think I had sleep paralysis once that I will always wonder if I was abducted by aliens, and I do have friends that think I might have had some sexual trauma that this is being experienced through.
Related to the aliens or separate?
Separate from
Okay,
the
okay.
aliens. I have no idea, but it was probably just sleep paralysis, where I woke up but wasn't awake and
Yeah.
couldn't move and was lying in my bed, and everything
That's
felt like it was
terrifying.
like pushing down on me, and I like couldn't get away, and that I remember forever. And of
When
course-
you said it, the home invasion stuff with the whole family, that was a recurring nightmare for me too. Not specifically fire, but people with guns, and I could see them coming through the window, and was trying to figure out how to warn my family who was on the other side of the house, and like, is it better to run out and try and find help? But what, just like that panic and absolute terror. I remember those dreams so vividly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have those where someone is trying to get in through the front door and I'm going to try to shut and lock the front door. And as I'm like going to lock it, they open the door and I'm like I'm like trying to push the
Right.
door closed. I have those all the time and it's so scary.
It's so scary. And those are like in horror movies.
Yeah.
You see that all the time. They're like pushing either just in time or the fingers make it in or.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you have
scary
a
stuff.
greatest fear? Is it maybe your mom dying?
It's my twin brother dying,
Mm-hmm.
and me dying. So I don't know in which order, but both terrify me. We were talking before about like every time I go on a plane, I think like, okay, this is it. Or I don't want to go in for any even minor surgery because I'm like, well, if I'm not prepared to die, I shouldn't take this chance yet.
Right. It's funny because I have a version of that, but it's really serene. When I'm on a plane and I start to think it's going to go down, I suddenly become very zen about it. And I'm like, all right. And it's even better with surgery because I start to go like, I might die, but God, this feels good.
That's nice. That's a
Yeah.
nice
I
outlook.
don't have that one.
Yeah. No, mine is like, why didn't I achieve all of the things I was?
Yeah.
my
That would be
ambitions.
me sober going under. But after they're like giving you, they inject you with some stuff and it's good drugs.
Yeah.
And then
Well, no,
I'm
mine
like,
was that I didn't want to die before I saw the end of Lost.
Yeah. That's
Because
of
I really
course the
needed to
fear.
know the answers. And then when they revealed that they didn't have the answers, I was like, well, I guess I could have died.
I mean, I was so traumatized when they canceled Absolutely Fabulous that after that, there's like no fear left. It's like now I can do whatever I want.
I really had it with the end of Game of Thrones where I was like, I can't die before that finishes. And then I
And
could
then it
have.
finished, and you're like,
Yeah.
I could have died.
God,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Such a bummer.
Yeah.
Makes the Lost ending look a lot better.
I agree. I'm not one of the. I don't waste my time defending the Lost ending to people, but
I do all the time.
I will. I'll get into it. I'm glad to meet someone who also.
Because I still say every show I've ever seen, Lost was the most fun I've had watching a show. The
Yeah.
experience of watching it and then like spending the next week trying to decode it.
Absolutely, I was there for the
most fun.
ride,
Yeah,
I had
and if
so much fun
not
too.
the destination.
people, if you are marathoning Lost now, you just are missing that.
I did
Oh. 'Cause
Because
half
that
and half.
period in between was the most fun of like going onto message boards and being like, did you know that this was backwards? Did you know that this was
Nerd.
this? So fun.
Right.
I felt lucky that I missed it for the first like 4 seasons, and then I binged it like when I was done with a job for 6 weeks or something, and then I watched the rest of the show live week to week, which it was so much fun, and I miss that about TV now.
Yeah, me
There's very few
too.
shows like that, and I really don't like the
I
streaming
did half
culture.
of what you did, which is watch the first however many 3 or 4 seasons, and then when it came back to live TV, I was like, "That was so much fun. I'm going to wait for it to finish." And then I didn't finish because everybody hated the
Oh.
ending.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh, and you know what? Fuck
Oh.
everybody. That's the one thing. Not to turn this into a Lost podcast, which is my next podcast.
Yeah, you guys should start
That'll be my
one.
spinoff. But everyone gets the ending of Lost wrong, and that's what really used to drive me
All
crazy.
right, I'm going to watch it. I do want to finish it, so
And
Maybe
hard
not
that
okay.
they had. I mean, there were certainly
elements of horror.
elements of
Oh,
horror
yeah.
in there,
Do you?
And great character development,
Yeah,
which is what you like.
I do. I do
which
like
we're
it.
missing in The Crush.
For
Oh my
Carrie
God,
Ellis'
I love the
character,
characters in
for
The
sure.
And for
Crush.
Alicia's character, I think. For all the characters, really.
Mm,
Oh, we're gonna.
yeah,
good.
we'll
all
get
right.
into it. No, for a majority of the characters,
Yeah.
which explains part of why Jessica loves it because
I
she does
love
not
this
like
movie.
character development.
Well, it's
Oh,
not.
you must love Phantom of the Opera then.
I don't.
Oh well, you're missing
have
out.
you seen it or heard it or anything?
I saw
That's
the
a
one with
horror
Emmy Rossum.
musical, and
I
it's
don't
got-
like musicals.
Can I go?
I
Can I go?
You can go off. On
I like
Jessica.
I will
I
happily
really
go off
only-
on Jessica.
only like maybe 3 musicals. I'm
Which
just
3?
not. I love Grease 2.
Well, that's
love-
for camp value, yeah.
I love Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Of course.
Same camp value.
I liked Chicago,
The movie or the stage
the
show? Both.
movie.
Yeah, I did too.
I have tickets to see Hamilton this go round, so I'll be seeing a musical.
I
Why
just
don't- how?
I will take any
They just
opportunity
came
out.
to correct someone's
Wanna see.
wrongness.
They're not that expensive if you go ahead.
Is there something, and I keep like warning guests that this is going to be a question and then not asking, but is there something that is not a horror but feels like it should be based on the plot or certain elements?
Speaking of musicals, Cats.
Yeah.
Have you guys
Jeez.
seen it
I
yet?
know,
haven't,
but I've seen the trailer.
But when you
It
were
looks
talking
haunting.
about movies that are like borderline, I felt like, just from what I've heard about Cats, that it could be traumatizing.
It absolutely could be, I would think, to people. And there are elements, not of horror, but like some of the music. I mean, if you play a clip of any amount of time of the overture, it will sound like a horror movie. But you start that with the like,
Yeah.
it's like very freaky music.
Whoa.
That's part of why
That
I
was a
like
nice
the
vocal
part of it. That
rendition.
oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It doesn't do it justice at all, but that just like having semi-human cat figures running around, and also there are
Yeah.
parts of the movie that aren't even in the show, like where there are cockroaches dancing and
Yeah, I
awful
saw a
things
clip.
that are really upsetting.
Let's talk about The Crush. I
Yes.
love this movie. I was so excited to do it.
I couldn't believe when you posted it, when Avital posted it on Facebook, if anyone is a fan of it. I had just talked about it on 2 separate occasions that very week to people
Whoa.
that didn't know what it was. And I was like, how do you not know the craft? This is part of our
craft.
childhoods. The crush. I mean, the craft. There's
thinks we're doing
I
the
mean, the
craft this whole
craft.
time.
Can we talk about the craft? That is
is
one of my
great, too.
favorites for sure.
Came up
And,
on
So
the
good.
last episode.
Yeah.
and
it
a
keeps coming
very formative
Yeah.
movie for
and,
sure.
And a rare
I know we
area
have to
where
do
we
it.
overlap. We both love Scream and The Craft, but we don't love a lot of the same horror
Oh,
movies.
those are both fantastic, of
Yeah.
course. And there's a new craft coming out, so maybe when
Yes.
that comes out, you should talk about them both in
Yeah.
the same one.
That would
But
be fun, or two.
or don't do it. This isn't my pod.
No, it's a
Whatever
great
you guys
idea.
want.
So yeah, what made you so excited about The Crush?
I had seen it
Oh,
several
okay.
times.
Okay.
and
And
I
you
just
love it.
it's iconic in there are so many like images and scenes and Alicia Silverstone's weird little cherubic smile
God,
and
she's so good in this
her
movie.
screech
She
is
is.
incredible.
It is crazy that this is her first movie.
Yeah.
Because she walks all over everybody else's performance.
She's a
like
star.
she's so
Yeah.
good.
The woman is a star. The girl at the time.
Right. the
Yeah.
young
Still a girl, not yet a woman. That's
Yeah.
not the lyric, but it's a
But
plot.
I mean,
It's
just
a
the
truth.
introduction
Yeah.
to her where he's driving and he almost hits her and she doesn't like blink an eye.
No, she
And
just
which-
like lowers her sunglasses and gives him a
Yes.
look.
Which is
And
that moment is
rollerblades away.
Yeah.
one of several, like very clear either copies or homages to Lolita, to
Oh,
Stanley
right.
Kubrick's Lolita.
Yeah, it
The
felt very
sunglass,
Lolita.
the glasses are. It's like, oh,
And then
this
all
is a
the bikini
'90s version
shots.
of that.
Yeah.
I mean, her bathing at the pool is very low, and with lowering the glasses
she
again.
takes off one side of her
It's
swimsuit.
fully. If it hadn't been based on a real story, apparently, I would say this
Right.
was him trying to the director trying to do a modern Lolita thing.
Yeah.
Right. I
'Cause
mean,
it's
the
also
story
Lolita.
is very Lolita.
Yeah, a professor. This isn't a professor, but he might as well be because he's
Right.
a British person speaking in a fake American accent.
and he's,
Same
and he's
thing.
Renting
literary.
a room in
Yeah.
the
He's a
parents'
reporter.
house. Yeah, he's a writer. Either way, he's a writer, and yeah, and he rents a room in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
and
gets a little
in the
guest
summer.
house.
Yeah, it's very Lolita. I just was like, wow, you are out of the gate either stealing boldly and
Yeah.
blatantly from a famous and very imagery iconic movie, or because even the poster of Lolita is
Right,
that
the
first
Yeah,
image.
sunglasses.
same as this one.
Yeah.
But then, or you're doing an homage and like, this is what we're getting into. I'm
Right.
taking this and I'm running with it.
Yeah, it's like Lolita meets Fatal Attraction.
Yeah, but with
Yeah.
an underage girl.
Meets the 90s.
well, the underage girl's the Lolita. part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is, but it's so like to make her like Lolita is a much more layered the movie and the book, but like or either movie of it.
Isn't she older though, Lolita? Isn't she like 17?
I didn't think so.
Is
I
she
think
not?
she's meant to be under 16, but I don't
Okay.
remember.
I don't
I don't
remember
remember.
exactly either. I
But-
think she
But
might
hearing
be-
like this where she's like 14, I kept going, she's
They say it so many
14?
times,
Yeah.
That's
including right
so
before
young.
he kisses her, and
And she doesn't look 14.
no,
she looks
doesn't.
17. She
Yeah.
is so hot in this movie.
I know Jessica and I were like talking about that feeling of like I want to grow up to look like this person, but it's like we want to grow down.
I
want to
grow up to look like
15-year-old.
14-year-old Alicia.
That's how I
Silverstone.
felt during Clueless. I was like, Clueless, all of these people, and I don't know
Yeah.
how old they were when they filmed it, but they don't look like high schoolers to me. They look
Right.
older, but not comically older. They're not like
Right.
90210
You just
No,
feel
older.
it's like
this
the
is what I'm supposed to
ideal.
look like.
It's
Yeah.
like it's what you want to look like. In
I
high
want to be
school.
5'10", just like
Like
Cindy
Cindy
Crawford,
Crawford.
and I still do.
I fucking love that movie. And I didn't realize that The Crush came first. So when it said introducing Alicia Silverstone, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
All right.
This is a movie I grew up with. I watched
Me
this movie
too,
maybe
yeah.
100 times when it came out, and that's when it started. And they said her name was Adrian. I was like, it was.
It was not.
And then I looked it up because I was so confused because I remember she had a very masculine name, and I was like, I don't think it was Adrian.
And I looked it up because I was so distracted by the ADR and I noticed it every single time. And I was
It's
like,
Yeah,
what
you
is
noticed-
happening?
You
It
noticed
happens
the stuff,
so
and I
many
never do.
times.
I
I
would have never
totally
noticed
did.
if I hadn't known.
I
her
kept
name was
noticing the ADR
Darian.
and then I noticed the pattern of it's every time they say her name.
See, I didn't know it when I'd watched it many times. Not 100 times. I'll give you credit for the 100 times. I probably watched it like 6 times, but or
This is a
parts
big
of
movie
it on
in my
TV
house. My
or
sister and I
whatever.
watched this so many times.
You had a household of note that they let you watch.
Well, my mom went
Of
back
note.
to get her master's, so I was being
So
raised
no
by the
holds
older
barred.
siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a lot of stuff.
And
I
that's why you're the
shouldn't
vixen that you are today.
have.
The
why I know a lot of
predatory, psychotic vixen. And you know how to get your way or
Oh.
else. But as do I, as do we all, I'm
Yeah.
sure, from watching
You're
this
a
movie.
redheaded vixen.
Yeah,
yourself.
do you
well.
want any lemonade? That whole thing.
I'm making lemonade.
Do you want a glass?
Uh,
so good.
But
God, I love this movie.
it's wait, what were we gonna
The
say?
ADR, you were saying.
Oh, the
that you
ADR. I didn't know about it when I was a kid, and then when I rewatched it for this, I was made aware of it by friends I was watching it with. And it was noticeable in some places to me and not in others. But then I went back and watched the trailer, and it is fully Darian. Is her
in the
name.
trailer.
In the trailer.
And
Wow.
moments that I remember from the movie that are in the trailer, I'm like,
Me too.
that's crazy
The
that they
pool.
said
I was like,
Darian.
where's the pool?
Every time that pool scene
Yeah.
was cut, yeah.
Yeah, because as soon as it starts and you see him overlooking the pool. So I watched this with my husband, who was very nice because I kept going, oh, you know what's going to happen. Because it kept coming back to me because I'd seen it so many times. So I just kept like being like, oh, and then this happens and da-da-da. And so when I saw the pool, I was like, oh, yeah, there's a great pool scene.
I read
And then
stuff about the
nothing
pool scene, and then I was
It's
like,
such
I
a
don't
short
remember
pool
this being
scene.
in there.
Yeah, they apparently cut the pool
But
scene
it was like
down.
that she knew that he could see the pool, so she swims naked.
Oh.
Which I feel like I remember, but
That's what I remember.
maybe we're making it up. Maybe it's like a Shazam, whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
One of those.
Yeah.
Uh,
Bernstein Bears.
Yes, but I do remember that, and there's some other cut scene that is in the trailer of her pulling the sheets off of them when they're naked, when
Right.
Carrie and her and
Yeah.
the other woman are
Amy.
Oh, Amy.
Oh, she's so
Amy, when
cool.
she's like, it's okay, Amy. I'm sure some guys like girls with small breasts.
Oh my God,
The
that line. That line, I was like, I remember this. There were so many times I was like, I know this line. I know this scene. I know this moment. Like the first time she smiles, she does her like little girl sexy smile that she does
She's so good at it.
in
Yeah.
Clueless. There's like, what?
There were so many moments where I flashed to Clueless.
Yeah, because
And
she
then you're
does
like,
that
it's-
to
that's
Paul
just
Rudd
Alicia
at one point when
Silverstone.
she's like, when I think, what is there?
When
I
it
know
maybe
the
it's
moment.
like when she's like, "You think I'm beautiful?" on the stairs. Maybe
Oh,
one
in
of those.
Clueless.
Oh yeah, and when he's flashing when it's like all by myself, and then she's like, wait a minute,
I love Josh.
I love Josh, and it's like flashing back and like a moment when they're on the stairs and they're like
Oh, when she pushes it.
smiling.
Yeah, I just
and it's
pictured it too. the
that
pushing.
like dimple
Mm-hmm.
child
she's too
smile
cute.
of an adult sex kitten.
Well,
Yeah.
she does it too in this one when they're like, did you mark on his car? And she's like, why would I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so innocent. And I immediately turned to Brad. I was like, she didn't answer the question.
That's right. She didn't answer. it.
No,
She's like,
she just like kind of smirks and leaves.
she knows exactly what
So you
she's
watched
doing.
with two friends,
I
or what was
did.
were you like, you guys haven't seen it, you have to watch it?
No,
Or
I was just gonna watch it. I sent you a picture of me watching it, and then I was like, wait, maybe I can have fun watching this with someone. And a friend who was wanting to watch a movie this week, I was like, do you want to watch this? And he was like, well, yes, that's fun, and my friend wants to join. And I was like, learned that the friend had the DVD because I was gonna watch it. It's free streaming on Amazon.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And I was gonna watch it that way. And
That's how I watched it.
Me too.
I was like, I can't believe you have a friend who was already wanted to hang out, who has the DVD and is
That's
obsessed
crazy.
with it. We had a good time.
Yeah.
We,
The
of course,
line
had a
I
good time.
remembered
That's
that I
great.
was like so excited to finally get to is when she says, aren't she going to tell me to break a leg? And she says, break
them
'em
both. So good.
That
That
little
was the one
scene.
that has been in my head since this. Like I've
Yeah.
never forgotten that line. It's so funny to me.
I mean, that is like the original Mean Girl.
Yeah.
Only she's like right and a nice girl.
Yes.
Right? Isn't it? Amber Tamblyn
Cheyenne.
says it. Yeah, Cheyenne.
Um,
Which Benson is so cute. Not Amber Tamblyn. Did I say Amber Tamblyn?
Oh,
Amber
you
did,
came up
Benson.
on the last
but-
one.
Yeah.
Amber Benson.
She's so cute.
I mean, we can always toss out to Amber Tamblyn too.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no reason not to
Yeah,
deny
sure,
her.
she's
I
great
keep
also.
bringing her up because I love General Hospital.
I actually never.
keeps coming up that way.
she's married to
David Cross.
Oh,
Amber Tamblyn?
who's married to the guy from SNL,
Which one?
Taron Killen?
Oh, Kobe Smulders.
Oh.
Both of these are funny names to me. Who's women with established
I'm an
careers who I
encyclopedia
happen
of
to not
married
know
celebs.
or have seen
Yeah.
almost anything of their oeuvre.
There's a song really early on that I loved, and it sounded like Talking Heads, and I was trying to figure out what it was. And the soundtrack to this movie is weirdly hard to find in an era where everything's been digitized. Like, I'm sure you can order one on eBay or Amazon, but to find a digital soundtrack for this was really hard. Although I figured out
I
the
don't
track.
even know if the soundtrack ever existed.
must
the
have,
friend,
right?
the aforementioned friend of the friend, said he wanted the soundtrack so badly as a kid. And I asked, why didn't you have it? He said, because it didn't exist.
That's crazy.
I don't know if he's right or not.
Well,
What
they
is
didn't put
this-
out soundtracks to every movie. They still don't.
But you'd think this
thought
was
they do.
this
It was
so
movie
great
won
soundtrack.
2
No,
MTV
they
Movie
don't.
Awards.
Yeah.
Damn it!
they
Put
don't
out a
put out
soundtrack.
soundtracks to every movie.
They would have
no.
made money. The track "My House" by Chris
because
Kowenko.
this
Money.
is
They
how-
gave
So
up
good.
money.
But I'm not a music person, and the only way that I really discover music is through movies. So there have been a ton of movies where I've gone to try to get the soundtrack, and it's like
Yeah.
that doesn't exist. This isn't one of those movies.
I mean, they put one
Yeah.
out for disturbing behavior. They put one
Mhm.
out for
Oh,
the,
well,
the
flagpole
thing, too.
faculty.
But yeah, that song if you can find it, Chris Coenco, My House. I was like, this is so good.
Oh, is that the one? Is this the hip hop one that she's sunbathing to?
No, but
Because that moment is so funny to me.
yeah.
'Cause
Now I
it's-
don't. Oh, where she?
He's like working, and then he hears this hip hop music.
Oh yeah.
And it's so on the nose, it's unbelievable. Because he looks out his blinds and he sees her sunbathing in her Lolita getup and glasses and everything. And the music playing, I should have looked this up before, but the lyrics are basically over and over again a guy saying, you can taste this if you want it. Or something like, or you can touch
very
this or you can have it.
sexual, yeah.
And then the next thing that happens in each round of that is a girl going, and I just love it so much. I can't. And it like to have hip hop music just introduced in this scene that's like
Yeah.
we've never had this before. There's no 90s context, and especially looking back, I don't know if at the time it sounded normal. And of course
Right.
it's still normal,
Right.
but like it looks like a white person movie trying to be hip at the time, especially
Yeah.
when hip hop wasn't like permeating every
Yeah,
part
yeah.
of pop culture, but especially like this older professor type guy looking down on this like underage white girl sunbathing to like
Yeah.
very sexual hip hop.
Well, it's so strange in the beginning when he's looking to get a place, and the
I
mom
wrote something
says,
down. I wonder if it's the same thing.
"This will be great. You know, my husband and I are gone a lot, and we want someone to look after the place." And it's like you're so excited for this like 28-year-old man to be watching over your 14-year-old daughter while
they're
you're both gone
encouraging
all the
her
time.
to bloom.
Yeah,
So-
they're like encouraging the relationship between the two
Yes.
of them.
I thought it was also really weird, and this should have also been extra suspicious to the mom, is that he like sees the outside, and granted, it's beautiful.
He doesn't even look
He doesn't look
inside.
inside. He says,
Inside.
"I'll take it."
You know what he has
without
seen
seeing
though?
Her. Yep. But also, I don't
Adrian
know
or
how.
Darian.
I don't
as
know
it
how
were.
he knew that she lived there.
Because that's
The mom says that.
No, but
No,
she
but-
also rollerbladed right into that driveway.
Okay, so he
And
was
then
on
he
his
saw
way
the sign
there,
that says like
so-
room for rent. Oh, before we move on from the beginning too, which I'm sure we'll discuss every single scene in order. But the
How can we not?
I don't know. We have the shot list here, so which I'm sure you'll put up on the website.
Of course, of course.
But
The website that we have.
but did you guys think that it was a stunt double rollerblading? Because
I didn't because she didn't seem great.
well, that's what makes it so funny to me. Because me and the friends I watched it with all got convinced that it was a stunt double.
Interesting.
Because she comes out and they like cut to her at the car where he stops and almost hits her, and then she does her like face acting, and then she rollerblades away sort of badly.
Yeah, sort of
She's got
bad.
this very wig-looking hair that
Oh, I
is
didn't notice
longer
that.
and more straight than her hair ever looks in the rest of the movie. Her body looks a little different and tanner, and her face from the profile that we see it at doesn't look like her.
Wow, I did not.
It could
I
very
didn't
well be
notice
her.
that.
I have been wrong.
I know that they got
before.
a double for her butt.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
which
But legally would
maybe
well,
they wanted it to be the same butt because the butt is what we see going away.
The IMDb had it like a crazy thing that was like one of the studio execs was
Yeah.
mad that they didn't have Alicia do it, and the director was like, "No, she's 15."
Oh, I read that
That
one of the
speaks well
studio
of him.
execs was mad that there wasn't frontal nudity, and I think that was even specifically with the double, not necessarily Alicia. And then
Well,
the
the one is
compromise was the butt.
Oh wow! Because yeah, I guess if the double is of age, then
Well,
Right.
they
can.
said,
But like,
yeah, the thing it says on there is that the exec demanded they reshoot the scene and have Alicia Silverstone show off her naked body, and then the
That's
director
so
refused because she was underage.
risque and
And
wrong.
the executive reluctantly agreed to a body double.
Yeah.
Reluctantly.
That's crazy. It's also like you've already cast this girl. You can't just be like, oh, now you have to be topless because
She's
somebody
literally
says.
underage too.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I don't
She
care
was,
if
like,
you want the
15,
character
right,
to
did
be.
this.
But why is that necessary for the movie? If anything,
Right.
if anything, you don't want to see that kind of provocative, erotic thing that like will
Right.
make the audience think, oh,
She's an adult.
she's
or-
an adult. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot. I mean, there is a lot of tricky stuff in this
Oh
because
yeah, you could
they
never
are
make
really
this movie
trying.
today.
Oh no, they're really trying to put it all on her that
Yeah.
she's the aggressor, which
Yeah.
she is. That she's the problem, which she is. But he is so into her in the beginning,
Yeah,
and he
he's-
makes so many.
He's
gross
so much more of the
missteps.
problem than I think the movie thinks that he is.
Yeah,
at the
especially
time.
when you find out that this is based on the director's real experience.
Which in the little summary of that experience that I read, it was like he was immediately not interested in a sexual relationship because she was underage, and when she pressed and he pushed her off, like figuratively, she then carved into his car, "You suck cock" or something like that.
Yeah.
And the parents didn't believe him.
Yeah, and then the friend in real life told him
That
that
she'd
she
seen
did
it.
this,
Yeah.
and then they still didn't believe that it was their daughter, and then he moved out.
Right.
Unlike in the movie where it takes your life almost ending
Yes.
to move out.
I did really like that one
Yeah,
line where
oh my
he's
God.
like, as soon as I'm done with this assignment, I'm moving out.
Yeah.
Because I was like, why isn't he moving? And
I
then that
screamed at the
helped.
scene, that's not fast enough. And then when he goes to look for the apartment with that old woman, and she's
Mrs.
like, I don't
Tinkerman.
know. Yes, Mrs. what, Tamarind?
Tinkerman.
Great
When
name.
Mrs. Tinkerman says,
Mrs.
I don't
Tinkerman.
know if it'll be available sooner. I'll check in with you at the end of next week or something, or
Yeah.
anytime next week. And I'm like, that's not soon enough, Mrs. Tinkerman.
That's true, but I did really relate to being under the pressure of a deadline and being like, I can survive a 14-year-old for another week.
A 14-year-old who at this point has like made it your life almost ruined.
Yeah.
Like your life could have been ruined by the things she's already done.
I think it helps that she's sort of saves him in the beginning by like he gets the cover story and he's suddenly this
she
lauded
rewrites
writer.
it.
She rewrites his article, and I kept thinking he was going to be like, can you proofread this for me?
Yeah.
That he was going to like come to her and treat her like an editor.
But the ending scene, right before he goes into the house, where they're like, they're leaving tonight. You can go in and pack. I was like, you're not packed.
yeah,
Like you've been trying to move out for
Right.
a
and
while.
how he had so much stuff there.
So much stuff.
yeah,
That part did make me crazy. Where I was
Yeah.
like, fucking men, get your shit together, and you should have been packed and ready to go to Miss Tinkerman's.
yeah.
Yeah. Or
Be
anywhere.
ready.
Or to your girlfriend's house. What
Right,
really
why didn't you
amazed me
just
was
stay
that
with
she
her?
was like,
Or
she
a hotel.
fully
Yeah.
understood that this 14-year-old girl, not only was she crushing on him and living there, and she knew that she had, like, when she erases his report or whatever, his whole article that he worked so hard
Yeah,
on
the Levinsky or whatever.
erased. Yeah, and she knows that because she's being asked to Amy, right?
Yeah, Amy's
is being
being asked
asked
to
to
cover.
cover for him, and she's not like, how are you not moved out yet? This is a red
Right.
flag about you. She then
Right.
doubles down, and then the girl, I don't remember if Adrian says this before or after she erases the paper, but she tells Amy, have you been to this makeout point
Yeah,
at
to
the
the
lighthouse? He
lighthouse.
took me there.
Maybe
Maybe
he'll
he'll
take
take you
you."
sometime.
Yeah.
Ugh.
She has implied bald-faced that he has made out with her,
Mhm.
and she doesn't bring this up with him.
I mean, they did go
And
to the
did you guys
lighthouse.
think that she was going to ask him when he's
Yeah.
packing, and she's like, I need to ask, like,
Yeah,
are you
I
going to
did, I
the
did.
work party or whatever?
Yeah. I thought
Instead,
was
she
gonna be
says,
like, "Did you?"
not only do you want to
Well,
go
you wanna be
together,
my
but like,
date.
do you want to be my boyfriend, basically? Like, she
Yeah.
doubles down on him at this point,
Yeah.
which is weird.
That's the power
You
of
know,
how hot Carrie Ells is.
He
That's
is
true, but
so hot in
I
this movie.
also
He's so
think-
beautiful.
I want to respond to so many things that you guys said where I'm sort of disagreeing. Like one where you were saying I do think he is more responsible than the movie lets on, but I also
He kisses
think
her
He
at
does
the
kiss her.
lighthouse
Okay.
right after he says
me,
you're 14.
it looks like she kisses him and he stops it. That's
Oh.
how I
He's,
saw it.
they're into that kiss together.
Yeah, and I don't.
That is
My
it.
word
I
choice is
didn't see
bad.
it that
She
way.
kisses him, but he does. He keeps the
Yeah, the
kiss.
kiss
He doesn't
goes.
push her away and say,
It's not a
"You're an
fast
underage
push.
He
girl."
does push her away, but I feel like it's just not quite fast enough, but I feel like he still does it.
And they're both so hot. Is there
They're both
anything
so
wrong with
hot.
this? Come on, they should have been able to let their
And
love
he
bloom.
and he says the line, "If you were only 10 years older."
Which fair.
yeah.
Not fair.
But
I
that's a
think that's
really
fair.
weird thing to say to a
That's
14-year-old.
no. When you're trying to shut someone down, that's not okay. Here's why I really don't like him.
Okay.
Is okay. So we have this
He
whole
can't
thing.
write. He has no flair.
Yeah, it's so unfair.
That's established that he
Yeah,
doesn't
he's
deserve.
not a good writer.
He has this whole relationship start to build with her. They kiss at the lighthouse. He shuts her down, and then later, Amy is like,
So see, if you just said he shuts her down, it's not they kiss at the lighthouse. It's she kisses him at the lighthouse.
but the
he
kiss
shuts
goes
her
on
down.
for too long. He's into the kiss, and then
and then
he
it's
keeps
a
hanging out with
romantic
her.
moment after that. It's not like
Yeah.
stop.
No,
I'm not
isn't
kidding.
he like, come on, we're going home right after that?
Not in like an aggressive shutting it down way,
I
and
thought
like
it was kind of.
oh,
He's-
that was
no, he
sweet, but we
never-
have to not do this.
Not until
Right.
later. Not
You're
really.
gonna stay into. We've all been there. Like
It's not until the party.
where an older man
when-
kisses you at the lighthouse, and
Yeah.
like he doesn't shut it down clearly enough, and so you know, because she's looking for the signs that are like saying
I'm into
I'm
you."
into you, and even though I can't be, I am because
Right.
you're hot and awesome and smart. Also, this is teaching the world. This is like a slew of movies that taught us all to be afraid of smart women and
Right.
aggressive
totally.
women.
And women with
Totally.
agency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like Fatal Attraction. Like
Mhm.
okay.
I wrote down some others.
Oh, but what I was gonna say is he then so he has that whole moment with the kiss. He has all these conversations with her, and then Amy is like, she clearly has a crush on you, and he's like, No, she doesn't.
Yeah.
That's where it's
Yeah,
like,
that's crazy. You
I
know
like
that she
that.
told you to take her driving,
I like
he's
that.
to the
not
lighthouse,
taking it seriously.
I don't
kissed
think-
you.
I don't think it means it when he says she doesn't. I think he's like, I buy that he says that and doesn't mean it.
No, he's like
I agree
blowing
with
off
you.
Amy's
Yeah.
concerns.
Yeah, exactly, which makes him all the more
More
culpable.
gaslighty.
Right. He's
Yeah.
more culpable in the whole thing.
Because
And
he's
then
keeping
all
this
of that
private
where
thing
he's-
and putting this face up to Amy, the adult
Right.
who's looking
But
at this and
also
saying
when
it's
she
wrong.
comes
Right.
in, he's in the shower and she comes in and he's not like, leave.
Yeah,
I'm
he
in the
doesn't tell her to
shower."
leave.
He hangs
Right.
out and talks to her while he's shaving
Well,
with just
and
a towel around his waist.
Yeah.
This is the moment of pure culpability, undeniable. I'm showing you in the Defending Your Life version of his life.
Oh my God, I love Defending Your Life.
So good. You know this movie, Defending Your Life?
It's no, I haven't seen it. But I
It's
know it
also
is.
my view of what death in life really is. So
Yeah.
how I live my life is based on that.
Yeah.
It's my religion.
But when she comes in when he's showering, and then he says, well, first of all, it's super weird when she's like, "Is this you as a kid or whatever?"
can
And he
I
says it to me.
have
Can I
it?
have
I
it?
love that.
Please, can I have it? Who fucking wants to have? That's so weird.
Yeah.
That
And-
was where I wrote like 7 times red flag, red flag, red
Yeah.
flag, red flag.
But then he not only doesn't tell her to leave, but he closes the door part way.
Just enough.
Just when he gets
Yeah.
out of the shower
Ugh,
and goes
you
to
see his
shave,
butt.
he closes it part way. So this is someone who is tempting fate. He is stoking the coals. He wants to see what
He
she's going
likes
to do.
the attention from her.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
to that I say, is there anything so wrong with liking attention if you don't intend to act on it?
If you're an adult,
If you're an
stoking
adult,
the
yeah.
coals of a 14-year-old girl's crush on you, making it possible for her to see you naked. Like, we
Yeah.
only saw his butt, but maybe she could have seen more
Yeah,
if he had
true.
turned around another
Yeah,
direction.
at some point you have to be the adult.
I want to say something that's going to be very unpopular. And it's not like I have a solution to this, but I do think
Is
the
this
movie
about Palestine?
highlights
Oh, sorry.
highlights in a sense how, because she is so smart, she's like this baby genius. And
Which
how,
is also telling us, be scared of smart women.
right. I
Smart
love
women
that
are
point.
toxic
You're
and
right.
should be
You're
punished.
so right. And I like that there's an awareness of that messaging and what's wrong with it. I think that's a great point. Additionally, I think, I've met, and I feel like I was, when I was 14, I was like a 20-year-old. And
Yeah.
I've met people that are 30 that are clearly like still 11. And just that the whole system is flawed in that like not all 14-year-olds are created equal. And it's not like what he's doing is okay, because at the end of the day, it is against the law. And so it's wrong. And we need some sort of system to keep things safe. But at the same time, she's not your average 14-year-old, and she does have a lot more agency.
In looks or brains or
Yeah.
agency, absolutely.
She's a
Or
better writer
mental
than
health.
he is.
The fact that she's
Yeah.
actually 15 when she shot this is crazy
I
because she
know.
looks 17 at
She's
least.
so hot. It's crazy.
I've seen
Like in an
14-year-old
adult way,
girls that
yeah.
are
Yeah.
children.
Although this would be a fun thing with our episode to post us at 14, to post photos of
Oh,
us.
that's a
I
fun
feel
idea.
like I looked like 17 also.
Oh.
Yeah.
And not
Well, I
because you
still
felt
look really young.
17?
Well,
Yeah, you look like you're 17
That's
now.
I still get
Yeah.
carded to see an R-rated movie. That is like not a joke. It's
I-
embarrassing.
That's so adorable.
you'll have to bleep out his name, but I think about this and like have fantasies about blackmailing this person into like being in my movie so I could be a major success. But I made out with Bleep when I was 14 and he was at least 21.
Oh, wow, you're saying that and not planning to edit it out?
No, you're gonna edit that name for sure. I'm saying we can't release
Okay.
it with his name. Bleeping
Yeah,
it.
bleeping that so they can hear us reacting to it. This is
Yeah.
a big star and so sexy. Was
So
he
sexy.
that hot when you
He
were
had-
14?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did he ask for your age or your ID?
So he made out with me and later also my friend. And I remember I lied about my age, but I didn't do 17. I mean, I didn't say 18 because that seemed like too much of a stretch. So I said I was 17. And my friend did not lie about her age.
Did he make out with her also?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't like any of this.
Yeah, he's, I mean, I
And
think
I don't
he's
like
close
Carrie
to
Ells. I
a
don't
10
like this whole thing.
10 years older than me.
'Cause
So not
I'm-
quite the age difference that they have, but close.
Yeah.
I was a very adult kid. I've always looked like a baby. But I grew up like my brother and sister were older. I was always with my mom when she was doing art stuff. I'd go on trips with her and all adults. And so I had been in situations where like men were talking to me and I was holding my own. And like my mom has had to come in and be like, we're leaving now.
Yeah.
She's
Because-
14.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
my mom would be like, this is getting strange. They're really they're having a really intimate conversation or something. And like, I need to get my daughter out of this.
Yeah.
So I do feel like as someone who, as a kid, like always spoke like an adult, I was still a kid.
Yeah.
It
And
is-
I didn't
yeah.
know what I was getting myself into.
Right.
It's their responsibility to shut things down. They're the adults.
And there's a
Totally.
big difference between 14 and 16 and 18 and all of that, but also like even now I'm never looking for or specifically attracted to like people that look young.
Yeah.
But certainly I've had, encounters and liaisons or dates even with people that are like 19 or 20, 22. And normally I'd be like, there's no way. I wouldn't even be interested in you. I couldn't have a conversation with
Right.
you. Even if you don't, I don't want someone who looks like they're underage, but like not everyone who's underage or barely of age looks that age.
Right.
And there are people, it sounds like all of us, I'll throw my hat in the ring. I was also older than my age when I was young
Yeah.
in terms of conversation and interests. And I had lots of friends that were older than me. And, there are people that are just, you're like, I can't believe you're 19 or I can't believe you're 14. Like,
Right. 100%. I have a friend who looks really, really young. And
is this
when
me?
we all know who this is.
this is Brendan.
Feeling very
But when people
honored.
are like really into her, especially like right off the bat, I feel like it's a little bit of a red flag. Like I feel like a more decent person would have to get over the fact that she looks
Yeah,
so
because
young
if they're
rather
into
than
her
being
immediately,
into
it's
it.
not because of her. It's because like,
Yes.
oh wow, you're of age and you look like a child. That's super
Yes,
hot and
exactly.
exactly what I want.
Well, and when he says things like, if you were just 10 years older, or are you sure you're really 14? He's letting the door stay open. He's showing that he is interested in
Yeah,
her.
and that the only
That's
thing
not
keeping them
shutting down the
apart is
conversation.
the little number of her age
Yes.
and the legality of
But
it.
isn't that kind of
Exactly.
the same thing as like when somebody asks you out and you're not interested in them and you're like, I'm in a relationship, and you are in a relationship. But the truth of the matter is I wouldn't go out with you anyway. So I feel like it's also just a gentle way to let someone down is like, the age.
No, 'cause
But
he also
it's so leading.
He never does this of like, aren't there any boys your age? Aren't there any, like, he's never, hey, why aren't
That's
you hanging out
true.
with Cheyenne? He's like, I'll be your
Yeah,
friend.
he never mentions where is Cheyenne.
Because she says,
shows
I
up
don't
in the
have any
beginning and then
friends.
not until she writes cocksucker on his car, and then
Yeah.
at the end and after the
Yeah.
Ugh, and the
the
part where
h-
she's swinging.
It's also
It's
a weird.
so childlike when she's on the swinging.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, will you stop swinging? And she's like, why? And like, she's being so petulant and a child.
but then
and-
she's also so creepy in that scene where
Which makes you immediately
he's like, that was a mistake. She's like, was our kiss a mistake? Was you watching me change a mistake?
oh my
Was
god.
that a mistake too?
And she's wearing like
So
a
good.
short skirt and a top that reveals her stomach and is low cut.
Yeah.
It does sorry.
Just I'm nervous to move on from the age gap. I mean, I guess we'll be talking
Well,
about
it'll
the
be
whole
throughout.
thing, but I think it's very
whole movie.
interesting how different it is. The double standard. Like Emmanuel Macron is married to somebody that he had a very inappropriate relationship with when he was too young and she was too grown up. But there is this thing where, and I know somebody else who lost his virginity to a teacher, and everyone's like, "Way to go,
yeah,
man!"
I know people who,
but no one
who
is-
have had underage sexual or romantic relationships. And
Whereas, like, if it's two men, I feel like you
just
get
bragging that I know this.
I
like,
just
if there's
want to
two
say,
men,
though,
you're like,
no
you're taking
one-
advantage. And
No
if
one
it's-
likes Mary Kay Letourneau. Okay?
Well,
No one is in here being like, she's awesome. Way to go to that kid.
Which
I
one?
don't
She
know
was
if that's
vilified. Mary
true.
Kay Letourneau is the one who had an affair. She was married with kids.
Okay,
And
yeah,
she
yeah.
had an affair with
and then they ended up
with
together.
her-
She went to prison.
She
Is
went
that
to
the one?
prison
Yeah.
and then they got married when she got out of prison and they had more kids together.
I mean, I do
and
think
now they're
some of that is
divorced.
having gone to prison because
Was
then
she-
it's easier to be like, she's a criminal.
No,
Was
but
she
like
hot?
people she was pretty.
Because I feel like there have to be lots of people, whether they're saying it publicly or not, who are like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
She was pretty, but but she was vilified. She wasn't.
So I think there are exceptions to the rule, but I think it's much more. You're much more likely to be vilified in the reverse. I think if you're male, like so, if it's an older man and a younger
also more
boy,
acceptable.
vilified. Older man, younger girl,
It's also more
vilified.
acceptable though to have an older man dating a younger girl because
In
like Demi
life,
Moore
yes.
dates Ashton Kutcher and everyone freaked out and called her a cougar.
It's
Right.
an accepted part of like human sexuality that men of all ages want a supple young, not only for looks but also biologically. Like
Right.
in theory, or not
Fertile.
in theory, but like this is when you're most fertile. We're supposed to be built to be attracted to that, and
Yeah.
And then people are surprised if a younger man, like right now, like Madonna is dating somebody who's like in his 20s. And
like
people are
why he would
"What?"
want her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which
it's
is
like
crazy.
in that kind of like hell yeah, bro kind of thing of everyone understands, and this, I mean this as like we only understand this, and we in our puritanical and every other thing way don't think about what women and girls are wanting and going through and all that, but young men and boys are expected to be horny and are expected to want sex, and it's supposed to be
Right.
cool and hot when you've done that, whether you're doing it with a girl your age or a hot older woman.
Right.
And at that age, older is like 27, 32, whatever. But
Right.
like that's cool to most people, especially if she's hot. Like this, I mean, this goes for all cases as a general joke, and obviously it's wrong when you're abusing or taking advantage of someone or using your power, all of the things under that umbrella. But there is that general joke that I think has a lot of truth in it, that if the abuser is hot, it's less often looked at immediately as abuse. It's looked at as, oh, cool, you got to have sex with this hot person. What
Right.
a
Yeah, I
lucky
agree
break
with
for
that.
you.
And there are people that when they're younger and have had a relationship with someone older and they're not of age, that when you ask them about it in hindsight when they're older, they'll go like, yeah, but I really wanted it.
Yeah.
That still like double down on that. you
Yeah.
know?
Which is fair, but also,
It
But it
doesn't mean
doesn't-
the
it
adult
doesn't
should
use-
be
it's
able
it's still
to do that.
statutory rape. You
Yeah.
know, sometimes that doesn't matter.
Right.
It's a very interesting subject that I don't think the movie really tackles. It
No.
just sets up the circumstance. But like, you know, as we were saying, people are at different ages at different ages.
Right.
And so legally, I'm certainly not going to defend anyone
Right.
having sex with a minor or anything in the sexual world. But
Right.
I definitely know people that are like, I would not take back that experience. That was part of my
Right.
and they were raped in that, like, yes, legally they were statutory raped, but like,
Right.
or statutorily raped, whatever. But they had a sexual experience that they wanted, that they chose
Right.
with open eyes, whether legally or even in my opinion or not, they had
Right.
the ability to
What-
have open eyes.
What about
but
states where the age of consent is 17?
yeah,
And are you like,
how is that a state
"That's
rule?
fine?"
Like, why when
Yeah.
you're in a rural area is it
Yeah.
16 or 14? And marrying age is still different in different states
Right.
and
You,
used to
you
be
can have parental
even
consent.
more. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
right.
crazy to think about, that you can legally, with your parents' consent, be married at like 15.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's usually when a parent is marrying you off.
Yeah.
Which is a whole other mess.
But I do
wish
like
I'd
how
been
the
married
movie
off. Just find me a good catch me a cat.
the movie is trying to show you
Mama.
that she's special, she's older, she looks older, she's 2 grades ahead. But then we do have these moments where she's such a kid, like where she's in her
Yeah.
room and her mom's like tucking her in. And you
To me, that always feels like an act versus part of her.
But you do get these moments where it's like she is a small child. Like
She's a
she
small
is.
child.
She is only 14.
She's a jellicle cat, which
Her
cats
room-
people will get that.
But but also like she's a small child in the sense that she's writing like their initials plus like
sewing them on her pillow.
yeah, that's a very
Yeah.
adolescent thing.
Which they must have had to redo that pillow shot.
Yeah, they
Oh,
Because
did.
yeah.
that
And at the
Adrian-
end with the
yeah.
letters.
By the
where
way,
she's still putting
for Darian,
you're
the
still
real,
putting hearts on your eyes. You're a child.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think changing the name from, I understand that it was a lawsuit, but I feel like it was a dumb one because I wouldn't have noticed or cared. And now I'm so much more aware of this person who existed
Yeah.
because of ADRing the name.
Yeah.
It just means all these people are going to look it up to be like, what was that?
I mean, I guess I don't know if they did any acknowledgement, if the director or anyone else did acknowledgement when the movie came out,
Well,
that
it
it
was
was based on a
later.
true story or not, or if that only came out because of the lawsuit. But yeah, if it was never acknowledged before the lawsuit, then yeah, you're just bringing more attention to it.
But it was
But I-
also done like after the movie was like seen.
Which is why the ADR is so bad, and why
Right.
the
Yeah,
trailer
'cause
still
you just
exists
didn't
with
care at
Darian
that
because
point.
they don't have
They
the
couldn't,
money apparently.
afford to bring the actors back.
Yeah, you're
to
not
do
going to read,
voiceover.
or even those actors. Although
Yeah.
how
'Cause it's
how can
also-
you can't get Alicia back at that
Yeah.
age to redub herself?
But at this
Yeah.
point, like I saw the movie a million times when it came out, and I hadn't seen it since. So like I wouldn't have even if we hadn't sat down and watched it for this, I would have still thought her name was Darian in the movie.
Right, but by changing it, it raises so many
So,
more questions.
yeah,
Like
and
now, if I
there's a
meet a
spotlight.
Darian who like seems to be of a certain age, I'm gonna be like, is that her? Whereas I never would have thought of that meeting someone
We
named
should
Darian.
find Darian.
Let's find her.
Let's find the crush girl and do exactly
Also,
what
I
she
don't want
was
to have a
afraid of.
lawsuit.
We can't.
The trivia is out there on IMDb
Right.
and Wikipedia
I know,
and
but it does.
whatnot.
When you watch the movie and he's so much more culpable, then it makes me look at the director differently. Because I'm like, was he as culpable?
Well, and he's more
Right.
culpable in the movie than the director claims he was when
especially the
recounting
director is
story.
out there saying, there was a 14-year-old. She wanted to have a sexual relationship. It's like, how did you get that out of her? Like,
Yeah.
what is the
close
context to
situation
that?
were you in where she felt
Oh,
comfortable?
jeez.
I believe that he could have had an experience where the girl, like Darian in the movie,
Is more
Yeah.
aggressive.
is aggressive, comes to his door and is being
Mhm.
very like, sex
Yeah.
kitteny, and like it's pretty clear, especially when someone who doesn't know how to be a sexual adult like a child
Yeah.
doesn't.
Right.
It's very clear when they're like having a crush
Trying.
on you. And
Yeah.
as someone who's been crushed on by 0 children, as far as I know, I'm sure it's very obvious, but maybe the culture was just different and you weren't as afraid of it then.
Right.
But I feel like now if that ever happened to me, I would immediately go to the parents and say, this has happened. I've already
Yeah.
seen what I think
Right.
is that. I want to be open about it. There's
I'm
no
moving
interest
out.
here and I'm moving out.
But you can tell that the dad, that Red from that
Yeah,
70s
Red
show,
from
is
that 70s
like,
show.
no, my daughter's an angel,
Oh.
and that he probably wouldn't believe it.
Well, and how
Dad
fucked up
doesn't.
is he? Can we talk about the building of the unmovable
Yeah.
carousel
The carousel.
for her dream childhood like playground in their
Yeah.
attic that she never wanted?
Well, to me, that feels part of why I said
I
her
ride
being a
real
kid
horses,
is
Daddy.
put on, is that she like feels like she's trying to satisfy her dad's image of her or something. Where it's like, yeah, tuck me in, and
Yeah.
daddy, and it feels
Well,
like
and that like
Well, she can
riding on
get
the
away with
swing
whatever
is
she
like
wants.
manipulative. It's like
Yeah.
playing up this young girl image
right.
that she can do as a sexual person and
Yeah.
as
Well,
a
and I think
girl.
it's also we don't actually ever get to that point of them having sex. Like we never see if she. Cause
Well, they don't, right?
Right,
They never
don't.
do it.
But because like, did you guys ever see American Beauty?
Yeah.
Of course.
Where Mina
that was
Suvari is
suggested on the
so-
Because You Watch the Crush.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because what I remember from that one is that Mina Suvari is very like she's 17 or whatever, and she's very sexual, and she wants to have sex with her friend's dad, and then when her friend's dad undresses her, she becomes like a child, and she's not really ready for all these things that she had been saying, and so then
That's
part of me is like
every day.
But I wonder if like in the moment if they had made it that far, if Alicia Silverstone was like
Would shut down.
was really willing to have sex,
I
or
wonder
like
too.
or if it was all talk and she didn't really understand.
That would have been a
She's a
really
child.
interesting thing for the movie to explore. And like it was
Right?
so committed to being an erotic thriller, which kind of this is what separates it from something like Lolita, one of the many things, but in terms of quality and legitimacy, like it definitely worked, and clearly for us as kids watching it as this erotic thriller thing, especially when we're not looking at in the microscope of the way we see gender and sexuality and power and Me Too and all of the stuff that we are all hyper aware of now
right.
in ways we might not even have been or might have been then, but like the world at large or the American society at least in terms of publicity is aware of this. But they don't. This is what I was saying before, like character development, there aren't a lot of layers to it. We do get
Right.
like that she's smart, she's lonely and isolated because she is head of her classes and her friends. She has difficulty
The
making
only friends she has, she's forced to be friends with.
Yeah, which also it seems like she's the one in power in that relationship. Like
For sure.
Cheyenne doesn't seem like she's like, ugh, I can't believe you have to tag along with me.
But clearly Cheyenne doesn't
Like
her because she's the one that goes to Carrie Ells and says this happened before.
But teenage girl, she's just trying to get in his pants also.
I did not buy, but then the one time a sort of lack of character development worked for me is when Cheyenne goes to scope him out. Remember, she like sends.
Oh yeah, she sends her up first.
Yeah, Adrian sends Cheyenne to go look at him. She's already seen him, so it's not first. She sends her like.
But
second.
before she goes upstairs to start talking to him,
right?
she sends.
Yeah.
She saw him on the street, but she hasn't spoken to him
Okay,
yet.
yeah.
So are we
she-
saying Cheyenne is just trying to destroy Darian on purpose?
Oh well, maybe later.
She knows what she's capable of.
But at this point, Cheyenne goes up, and when Adrian asks about him, Cheyenne says he's old.
Yeah.
And I did not buy it because I was like, he's clearly hot to anyone.
Yeah.
He is so objectively hot that nobody looks at that man and goes, he's old. But then he wasn't particularly charming or likable. And then I was like, yeah, okay, I could see him.
Yeah, I
not being
bought that
hot
where
to
she's
someone.
like, why are we so interested in this guy? He's old.
well,
Oh, I
he's
didn't.
there.
He's like beautiful.
But like
I
when
want
you're
to go
that
ride
age,
horses.
I mean,
At 14, I would have noticed him 100%.
for sure.
Yeah.
But even if he were less hot, like I'm trying to think of an actor that could have also been cast in this movie that was not so like undeniably
He's like Prince Charming.
breathtaking.
Well,
Yeah.
he was.
And he's hotter in
In
this
The
movie
Princess
than
Bride.
I
He
know.
was Prince Charming.
he's
Yeah.
even hotter in this movie than in that. I don't think he's ever been as hot as in this.
Oh, I
particular
love him with
moment.
like his glasses and his like very 90s. He wears like a full suit on top and then jeans on the bottom.
Yeah.
I love the glasses, but I think the character made me. I thought I was going to be just like drooling the whole time.
Oh,
'cause he
him
is
with like
so
a
beautiful.
cigar and then she takes the cigar
Oh,
and
yeah,
smokes it.
That's hot.
I'm almost surprised from like a this is the worst thing I'll ever say, from like a writer-director standpoint, like to make it more interesting that he wasn't so, I'm surprised he wasn't cast to be less hot than Carrie is, because then it's like, this ups the ante of the erotic, inappropriate thriller aspect of it, because it's like, well, any teenager who's sexually maturing would be interested in this beautiful and not very old guy who's living in their back house. But if he were just like in Lolita, he's not like a hot man necessarily. There are hot qualities about him depending on which movie you're looking at. But
whereas like, what is it? Elliot, Nick Elliott is like kind of just a hot name.
That's all you, girl. But it would be a more interesting study to me of character and people at these ages and in this kind of circumstance if he were not so undeniably attractive to most people.
I don't know if it would be like the 90s pop icon that it is without
no, it wouldn't, because leaning into its erotic thrillerness is kind of what makes it.
But I agree. I think it becomes kind of more interesting if he is a little bit off, like handsome, but in an unusual way. Yeah, and then maybe it's also more tempting for him because maybe super stunning women.
Oh, can we talk about Amy?
Oh my God,
smoking hot.
Amy Maddock is so cool with her suspenders when we first.
Oh my God, and her big
she
camera.
looks like she's doing like a J. Crew model shoot.
She looks like she's right out of like George Michael's, which is the one where all the supermodels are in it.
Oh yeah,
what is that song called?
I don't know the song, but I remember the video and all
Freedom.
the hot. Freedom.
God, I was like, I'm getting to the chorus.
Okay.
She looked like she's right out of the Freedom music video.
Yeah.
She looks like Linda Evangelista or something.
But maybe hotter, in my
She's so
opinion.
hot. She's so like early 90s supermodel hot.
Yeah. But
immediately I recognized her and was like, what do I know her from? And she's from Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. But I remembered the bees. That's like the most memorable scene in this movie.
Absolutely. It's the movie that taught us all to be afraid of bees.
That and My Girl.
Like 90s, the 90s taught us to be afraid of bees and women.
You taught
women
me
with
in
agency.
The Mist that yellow jackets are not bees, they're wasps.
Right.
So just clarifying, because this is only something I learned recently.
Yeah, because I've never been stung by a bee, but I've been stung twice by yellow jackets.
Also so the sort of foreshadowing of the wasps is when Amy
they're having a barbecue
to scout for sticks for marshmallows.
Deep out in their yard.
By herself.
Yeah.
I was like, why doesn't someone go with her?
Well,
and on someone else's property too.
Yeah.
Like it's not like
that
he
whole
owns
scene
this
made
place.
me so mad because she was like, he's like, we've got marshmallows and champagne or whatever. And then she's like, oh, I guess I'll go get sticks. And he's like,
and that's
great.
when he should go.
Also, why does the boss stop by for 5 seconds to deliver a piece of news and an expensive bottle of wine and then leave?
Yeah.
He doesn't stay for anything.
So strange.
All
they
that
had
stuff
phones then. They had computers.
That made sense to me. He was like, good news, I'll deliver it in person, celebration, but I'm also
not even
a
stay
jolly
for
person.
a cheers or something?
But there's so much about the Lubinsky, that whole thing, and it's like
doesn't go anywhere.
No, especially my favorite part is there's like one person that's got one line, and he's like talking about the Lubinsky, and it's like some girl's like, I want to know about his hair. Like,
right.
Can you imagine that's like your line?
Oh my God. I'd be honored.
I would too, actually.
But I rewound it because I was like, what about his hair? Like, who is this guy?
Like, is he hot? It seems like
is there more to this story? Because then and not having seen this since a million years ago, I kept feeling like maybe the boss or Lubinsky or someone was tied to the parents because everyone's rich. I was like, is this like a rich Seattle
rich,
thing?
But with no fashion sense. That party at the parents' house.
Oh,
that's
the
true.
frumpiness of
also,
those
her
clothes.
dress when she's playing the piano is weird.
It's
I feel like
excessive. It's
white off the shoulder but short.
Yes.
It's her debutante ball. It's
Another
for sure.
moment that doesn't make sense
It's
unless I
cotillion.
missed something. So I want to know if you guys caught this. Is at the end when Amber Benson's like, "Have you heard about Rick?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I think so." I don't think he has. Why wouldn't
I
you
don't
just
think
say
he has
no?
either.
Who's Rick?
Wait, who's? I don't remember this.
That was the
part.
camp
Yes.
counselor that she poisoned.
Benson tells,
yeah.
or Cheyenne tells him the
Benson.
story.
Amber Tamblyn.
Here's my take on that. He's a
Yeah.
reporter. So whenever a reporter is talking to somebody, you always say, yeah, but tell me more.
Right.
Because you want to get the person talking.
Also, they
That's
say
a very, but that's
they
a
make
very
a point of saying
reportery thing.
several times how good he is at research. Why isn't he like looking into this girl
He
or her
should
family?
know about
That
Rick.
should be part of it, for sure. Also,
especially because he's hired specifically for his research ability.
What
It almost
the hell
makes
is
more
with
sense.
under the stairs there's like
The
a
shrine.
The
thing under his stairs,
Yeah.
or in his
Why
room.
doesn't he take photos of anything either?
Yeah.
But he just closes
He's
it
a
up and he doesn't blow out all the
I
candles.
know, I
That's
keep
what I
waiting for him
said.
to
Blow
blow
out the
out the
candles
It's
first.
wooden.
And my friend was like, "Oh, maybe didn't
Maybe
he?
they cut.
Maybe
yeah,
they
'cause you
cut
don't
that part
see
out
it.
because
Oh
you got to
my
keep the
God.
pace up."
Yeah,
But like
yeah.
It's
that
under
is
wooden
you're gonna be
stairs.
set on fire in your
Yeah.
home while you sleep.
Yeah,
And
it's
also
not.
just for evidence, or keep the photo. She scratched out his face in his photo of
And that
him
was
as a
his
child with
only
his grandfather. The
copy.
only copy of this photo. That's not
But
creepy.
the darkroom scene, where
The dark room
I'll
scene.
remember that forever.
Oh
It makes
my
me scared of
God.
dark
I
rooms
knew it was
and
coming.
chemicals. Why is she breathing in those chemicals?
well, my mom is
Yeah.
a photographer, so we had a dark room in our house. We turned the garage into
Scary.
one, and so this was like such an impactful thing because we had a dark room.
Were
So
you
like I was like,
terrified
this
of
could
bees
happen.
coming in every time you were there?
We didn't have like an air duct thing like that because it was in a
Thank God.
garage.
Yeah.
But that's so
too
creepy.
scary.
She does the lock first. The whole nest gets tossed
Oh.
in, and then
And
that
she's
actress
fearless.
is
She
covered with
took the
bees.
nest by herself. Also,
She's a
why
badass.
did
The
Amber
bag.
Tamblyn say, "Meet me by the
Benson.
tree in their yard"? Like, how about meet
yeah,
me at a
meet me at
cafe or
midnight.
something? Like,
Yeah, or
of
meet me at
course you're gonna get
7.
caught after
Yeah.
she doesn't secure your saddle.
Yeah.
Oh,
Of
that part.
course.
I knew it was coming
Of
too.
course,
that whole
me too.
thing.
You're
where
like,
it's
"Oh,
the first
no."
jump she makes.
Rich
the second
girls
jump.
love riding,
Yeah.
and I mean that in all ways.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very sexual.
That's
over
what this
here.
movie taught me.
I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
The line. Guess
Ju-
what? I got my period.
Oh my God, I have
I'm
that
definitely
written.
not pregnant. Not that I had any reason to be. That was one that my mouth was agape.
Does she think it's sexy? I wonder.
I think it's a way of being like, I'm a woman.
Yeah, that bizarre.
Because I think that's her
creepy
saying she got it for the
bragging.
first time, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's like
And it's
I may
bringing
be
up her
14,
vagina.
but my body is a
Yeah,
woman.
exactly.
Now I can get pregnant.
Yeah. Which is what you always wanted.
Well,
To
I sat
impregnate
down and
an
watched
underage
this
girl.
with Brad, and I was like enthralled. And he, like 20 minutes in, paused it and was like, I did not remember how terrible this dialogue is. And I was
But
like,
it's
what are you
real.
talking about? This dialogue is everything. Moments where I was just like, wow.
Well, because it's not only like Fatal Attraction, it's not only Lolita, but it's like a modern day Crucible, and she's Abigail, and he's John
Mhm.
Proctor. Like there are
Mhm.
scenes that are like directly Crucible. Like her screaming on the side of his like work party
Yeah.
and
Oh,
trying to
that
like make
scene.
people like
Yeah.
make them aware of what's going on, and threatening his girlfriend.
That's maybe the most
and-
horrific moment for me because you feel that like
Oh, when she walks through the fucking
Oh, and
presentation.
she's like, hi, honey, or whatever she
and then
said.
Yeah.
slaps him. I screeched when she slapped him. It was so awesome.
that's like a real fear that I can connect to of like being humiliated in a way that you can't then really explain or be believed, and you lose your job and your livelihood. And,
And
that's,
he's
like, the
yelling at her, and
scariest.
she is screaming for everybody
Yeah.
to hear.
And then
And
he has
what
to
can you
drag
do
her
about
away,
it?
and he like that makes him look so much scarier.
Yeah, he looks
Oh,
like the
yeah.
aggressor, which is what she wants. I'm sure she
Yeah.
wanted him to hit her. But
Mhm.
like this also we have to talk about like this part of the reason this couldn't be made today is because this is like teaching especially young guys like be afraid of women and don't believe women. Women are
Oh, yeah, definitely
liars who
don't
can
believe women.
manipulate you and use their
Yeah.
sexuality and frame you for rape, which she does fully in the movie.
Right.
Gotta get that condom out of the trash
Yeah.
can.
In the 90s, I was witness to a similar situation where a lady, a young girl, a 14-year-old or whatever, 14, was actually having a sexual relationship with some guys of our age and told me if she got caught, she would lie and say that they forced her.
Wow.
And that's exactly what happened. The
Oh,
school
no.
psychologist found out, told her parents, she lied and said that they forced her.
they
and
meaning a singular
several
person?
boys.
Whoa.
But like I was this is a whole weird chapter of my life because like I was like that kind of like the gay kid who was like wanted to be in on it but like wasn't actually part of the sexual part of it, but I was turned on by the whole thing of it. But
Right.
like I was there where like they would set up these areas where they could all like get down in the library or whatever. And so like I
She was
know
just,
she
like,
was
having
into
sex
it.
with all these people
Not having
back to
sex.
back?
This was like more mild, like touching
Okay.
and like maybe some oral
but with
stuff.
like several different people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a very like looking
And how
back,
old
a
were
very
the
like
guys in this
bad
situation?
14-ish. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I feel very bad for everyone involved, very much including her. In my life, the crush was relevant because it was like, okay, I've seen this sort of thing happen where
Jeez.
not for revenge or because you're psychotic, but out of fear and out of like feeling stuck, like you're going to be
Right.
punished and slut shamed and judged and
Yeah.
like actually punished. And so you do something that is not necessarily right, but everything about the whole situation isn't right. But like same with this.
Yeah.
Carrie Elwes Elvis,
Yeah, I don't know.
Pick away.
Elsa,
I've been saying Els.
Carrie
I
Elves.
say the W because it's in there.
Elwes.
Yeah.
Carrie's character, what is his character's name? Nick? Nick was not in the right. We've already discussed that he was like
I feel
turned
like
on
an
by
enabler,
this.
but there's a
and-
part of me
He's
that's
very
like
feeding her attraction.
Yeah.
that's like he's not that in the wrong. I think, he could be much, much worse than he is.
He could be, and he didn't do things
But
wrong
he's
per
supposed to
se,
be
but
the
he could have
protagonist
been
that's good.
clear. He
Yes.
could have said, "This is inappropriate. I'm not interested in you this way." I could see like a young person who is smart and I like being around, who likes being
Yeah.
around me, and is clearly sad and lonely and frustrated with their social
Totally.
situation, and
That
I
makes
would
sense to
want
me,
to
too.
be.
I don't like it.
I would want to be something to them because,
Yeah.
especially having been a genius, brilliant 14-year-old or whatever, like
yeah.
I would have wanted that to happen. I wouldn't have understood, but I also understand the situation and the stakes involved as the sexual thing starts becoming
Right.
clear.
I mean,
but that was
and-
clear from the beginning.
I do think, look, if I met her and saw this beautiful, what I thought was a beautiful woman, only to find out that she's a 14-year-old girl, and then she's super smart, so smart that she rewrites my work and I get the front
Yeah.
page because of it, I
That's
for
a
sure would
key
be like,
element.
if only you were 10 years older. I don't think that's wrong. It's
It
like,
is
yeah,
wrong.
the only thing that is
To
wrong
say
with the
to
situation
them
is her
is-
age.
Unless you're going to say it in a way that's like, look, maybe in 10 years we'll meet again and it'll be different. But to say it like that, that's something you keep to yourself. You don't say that to the kid.
Yeah,
To
you
me, I
are
don't
just-
see that big of a difference between if only, maybe in 10 years.
It's telling the kid, I have feelings for you too.
But he's also saying, I'm not going to do anything about it because of your age.
But that's not what she hears. He's giving her an opening. That's what's wrong with
I think
it.
you're right that that's not what she hears, but I don't think he's necessarily wrong for not intuiting that right away.
I think also there are young people who, and obviously in this movie it doesn't play out this way, but they believe they wouldn't say anything. So they might want you to think, they know they want a sexual encounter with you or a relationship or whatever, and they want you to think they're not going to tell anyone. If you want this also, you're safe with me because
Right.
I want it. I'm mature. I'm making this choice.
It's our secret.
It's our secret, and nothing will happen. And of course, you should never have sex with an underage person. And also, you can't trust the young. You can't trust anyone. But like,
That's true.
they
Yeah.
are convinced
We all agree on that one
that they are believable in like trying to convince you that it'll be okay.
Right, right. I think one thing also in defense of this movie, because you were saying it teaches you not to trust smart women
Or bees.
or bees, wasps. But I
Wasps, yeah.
think it also is a good, like, don't sleep with anyone who's underage. So it has a good message.
Yes, that is
too,
a
buried in there.
universal, timeless message.
Yeah.
The dad's line, Adrian's a very special girl. This past year, she's really blossomed. Physically, I mean.
That's
And
so
then he
creepy.
says,
I know.
"I noticed."
I noticed.
And then the dad doesn't say anything there. He
No,
just sort
and
of
then she
smiles like
comes
we have
up-
an adult male understanding about this hot piece
Right.
of
Oh
ass.
my
Right, it's so
God.
creepy. But also to say, I noticed, it's like you just met her. You didn't notice that she
No,
blossomed.
he's saying I've noticed.
I know,
her
he's
physically."
noticing
Yeah,
that
it was
she
a weird,
looks
like,
good. But it's
And then
not
she
to
comes
say-
up in a
Tense,
row.
like,
Yeah.
how could you have known? He was like, oh, were you he should have said, were you watching her as a child like I
Right.
was? How did you know the difference? But
Yeah.
he did clearly say he noticed that she's an adult woman physically now.
Right.
And then when the dad goes on to using sexual language, like, can you imagine like being me with I'm just my greatest fear is some young guy with a heart
Yeah,
standing at the
hard
door
on.
with a heart on
Oh.
poking out of his pants or whatever. I'm like, this you have
Creepy.
imagined way too much hardcore sexual situations with your blossomed daughter.
Yes. Okay, I have a question.
And
for
then the
you
daughter
guys.
defends does the book.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
that
great.
part. Oh, what book? Oh, it must have been Wuthering Heights.
Which
She
also
picks
is
it
not
up
very. If
so
I was the
quickly.
dad, I'd be like, "What do you mean, what book?" He claims he just came over and returned to you
Right.
the book that you lent him.
But she plays
Yeah.
that scene so well.
She does.
Ugh.
She's believable, so I get
And
him.
the dad wants to believe her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, question about the dad. I think 100% the moments that you've just described and also him having this like full-size carousel in the attic add up to him being a creep. However, I don't think the movie sees him as a creep. Do you think it's deliberate or do you think what are they trying to say?
I didn't see the dad as a creep.
You didn't?
No, I saw the dad as someone that like wants
You
his daughter
wanted
to
him.
stay like a little girl. There's like a lot of
Do you
things
say you
where
wanted him like
Yeah.
she wanted to fuck the dad?
Oh.
Okay, great.
so into him.
You
No,
wanted him.
I just felt like in like really
Eureka.
weird ways he's like I think the whole thing, that line about like she's starting to blossom physically and him like fixing the carousel and all that stuff, I think he's trying to keep her a little girl.
Well,
Even
he's also in
though
that
she's
scene.
like
he's
Mhm.
visually. There's so much
Okay.
going on in that
he's
scene.
like trying to lock her down.
And
Yeah.
congratulations, Alan Shapiro, on the layered scene you have here. But
Yes.
like, because he's not only he's doing this like sort of winky-ish or interpretably winky, like we're both men, we know what hot girls look like, and that's my daughter thing. But he's also using the tools and being like, I wouldn't want to have to like snap his dick off kind of stuff with, and he's got the like wrench or whatever.
Right.
So
it's like saying if you
it's
fuck
a
with
dad's
my daughter,
he's warning him, saying I'm telling you that I see what you see. I know she's an adult woman now. You better not.
Yeah.
You better not.
But she's also made it clear that she's not interested in the carousel. So is it just like a weird sort of like tinkering that's fun to him, or is there some
No, I think it is like kind of trying to preserve this idea of what he thinks his daughter is.
For sure. And that is definitely at work in like
it's
them
denial.
being unwilling
Hardcore
to believe
denial.
anything she does is wrong.
Yeah.
That she does any of the things that are accused. I understand why you don't think he's a creep. I think it's just creepy that he is so committed to this carousel. And then in the end, when they come to their fight in the end, where it just even all these child dolls everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I don't think the movie sees him as creepy. The movie sees this as an opportunity for a creepy, horror-y setup to pay off at the end.
Yeah,
and it layers in the like, she's been protected and preserved by her parents. But like, I don't think we're meant to think the dad is like a creepy carousel guy.
I think you're. I don't think he's meant to be.
It just
creepy.
happens to be in place. They're like, oh, this is going to be such a great last scene with this carousel
cool.
and these
I'm
kids' toys everywhere.
And I remembered that scene. Like that had stuck in my brain. The carousel.
It's a cool symbol, and I didn't feel that way till now that we're talking about it. But it is this kind of like symbol of youth and innocence, and it's also like where a girl kills her own father. Seemingly, we don't know if he survived.
That's interesting, and also like. I don't think they hit this hard enough, but the symbolism of the dad trying to keep her innocence when she is clearly fighting and like stretching out of her body any way she can to like say, I'm not innocent anymore. I'm not that innocent. And like he is insisting on keeping up this restoration and wishing she would like this carousel and playroom that he's built for her. The fact the horror all plays out there, the like the way this comes to a head, this monster character kidnapping, like dragging, I don't know how she gets Cheyenne up the attic stairs and tied to a carousel. She's not drugged, right? And if she knocked her out, then she would be a body you have to carry up these stairs,
I think
pull
she
up on the carousel and tie
to the carousel. Yeah. I think she probably was playing the carousel.
And then how did she get her tied to it, though?
She probably knocked her out.
But then she has to lift that body and
maybe
tie it.
Maybe it's like the same way moms, when they have to save their daughters, have super strength and can lift a car. And she's like, I need to fuck Carrie Elwes.
Well, if Carrie Elwes has the super punch at the end, then certainly she has super strength too.
Yeah, I know his punch is unbelievable.
Insane. But the
she
symbol
does push
of
him
like
off the balcony too before that. So she's got some strength.
She's got some strength. Well, she's a horseback
rider. She's got some psycho
rider.
strength.
That's true.
She's got psycho strength.
Yeah.
But it is.
When you're crazier, you've got.
Yeah.
She's been chopping the lemons. She's working out.
Yeah. Oh, that does take strength.
God, that scene is amazing where she's like,
I wish we could see a sequence of her working out to prepare for this. But like I think it's really notable that, and I didn't think about it so much before of like, this is like a lesson to parents. Like, this is what happens when you deny nature. Nature is taking place. She is becoming a sexually mature woman. Teenage girls and girls who are 14 and younger have these desires. This is not just something we should assume boys have and accept that they have and reward them or cheer them on for.
Demonize girls.
Yeah, and of course she's going to end up doing these psychotic things. This is a lesson movie, a cautionary tale to parents to not deny young women their right to sexuality.
All right, we've got a lot of lessons from this movie.
Yeah.
Morals of the crush.
But that super punch, we like that. We cannot just wash over that.
It.
That
You're
punch
right.
is
also
insane.
I do love the line when Amy says to her, Adrian, go play.
Oh, yeah. And she's livid.
Then, because she's the only one, Amy's the only one that treats Adrian like a child.
Yes.
Because she's also like, I understand you have a crush on Nick, but once you go back to school, you'll like totally forget about him.
Yeah, she's trying to talk to her as an adult to a child.
Yeah.
Rather than as a parent to a child that's being preserved, or as an adult to a child who wishes they were an adult also.
Right. She's the adult in this situation.
Yeah, she's awesome in this.
The best part of that moment to me is that after she says go play, which at this point you should be more scared of her. You know that she has erased your boyfriend's report for his job, and you have done all this. You've scratched cocksucker into his car. These are major crimes and offenses that should really freak you out. So she's antagonizing her by saying, go play,
Yeah.
minimizing her and dismissing her as a child, which she clearly doesn't want to be treated as. And then she gets in her car and, for some bizarre reason, pokes her head out of the driver's side seat and just like looks at her. Who does that?
I don't
What
know.
a bizarre little
Maybe
moment
that's to make
in
sure
the
she's not
movie.
following her or something. Maybe she does get an inkling of, I shouldn't have talked to her that way. She's frightening.
Yeah.
But you could still glance in like the rear view.
Yeah, it's so weird
Yeah.
to poke your head
So
fully
I have a
out of
question.
the car.
She gets attacked by bees. She ends up in the hospital, Amy. And then Alicia's there when he gets the call.
Mm-hmm.
Then later when she's with Cheyenne, she says, poor baby, like I really took care of him and he cried on my shoulder.
She's
and
lying,
it really
I
brought us
think.
closer. Yeah, that's my question. Do you think that
I
he
think
did
so.
like confide in her in that
No.
moment? Because we never see him go to the hospital to see Amy.
I know.
Yeah.
That's
He's a
weird
terrible
that we don't
partner
see it.
to
But I
Amy.
do think she's lying. Do you think so?
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
I think so.
That part I never know because he is there and he is like, she was in an accident. And
Right.
he is like breaking down in front
I
of
think
her.
he might have broken down in front of her, but not actually leaned on her. Like she might have just witnessed it, but I don't think he's like crying on her shoulder. I also have a question. As he discovers the cave beneath the shrine and the lair, right before he discovers it, he sees the floppy disk.
Mhm.
And I
Yes.
thought at first, oh, it's not deleted. You grabbed the
It's
wrong
exactly
one.
what I thought, and she was just putting the fear of God into him.
Yes.
They never address it.
No, I think it's breadcrumbs for her to be like, I did it, motherfucker.
But why? He already knows she did it.
I
don't
guess it's to
know.
call attention to the carpet so that
Right.
Yeah,
he'll,
he
he'll
finds
go
the
under
thing.
and find it.
But did she want him to find it?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
think so?
Otherwise,
so.
she's just going to start a fire and burn the house.
Yeah.
She's like, he has to blow out the
She's
candle.
really
'cause I
counting
don't
on
think
him
she-
finding that
Yeah.
burning
I don't
shrine.
think she left the candles there like on purpose, like to just be like, I lit them and now I'm gonna leave. I think
Oh,
she lit them for him to find.
To me, the lighting of them is like the casting of a spell, not like for him to find or to burn the place down, just like making a wish and lighting a candle, basically.
But I
and
think
it
she's
burns
obsessed
out.
that, if
with
that was in her
candles.
room, I would buy that. But
And then it
but
is later.
she's trying to freak him out. I think into
Yeah.
like conceding to her love.
Yeah.
She might as well have said, if you don't have sex with me, I'm going to tell everyone you raped me. So you might
Right.
as well have sex with me because you're going to get fucked.
Well,
you're
and
going to be in
earlier-
trouble
What
either way.
happens then?
But if you have sex with me willingly, I won't say the rape thing.
Right.
So she should, if she had said that, she probably could have gotten that Carrie Elwes dick, but
Yeah.
she didn't. And then no one gets what they want. Then
She
gets
gets
a
that
split
line
lip.
earlier where
Yeah.
she's like, have you ever done a virgin?
Yes.
I mean, she is like coming on strong.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
and
another
then she does cry rape.
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, another lesson in
And it
this
is like,
movie
did
is
they
like,
check her hymen? Because they say
right?
they say that there's sperm in there, but I was like,
Yeah.
Although
But you
can
you
erase
don't
that
always.
out. They're gonna do a
does your
rape kit.
hymen always break when you first are
Especially
penetrated?
Horseback riding is a very common way to break
I was
it,
wondering
so-
about that.
So
Yeah.
I'm surprised they
I
didn't have a
think she
scene where
doesn't have a
where
hymen.
she explains this to him, is like, so that she lays the track of like, there won't be proof that I
But
wasn't
you know
raped
what?
by you.
Even just fingering yourself, you can break your hymen. It's easy.
I'll take your word for it. This is also teaching us like, believe people when they tell you who they are the first time, because like
Right.
she's a psycho early on,
Yeah.
and
red
these
flags.
are people who
No one wants to keep your baby picture.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you,
Red
at the
flag.
end, you are in a house where you have gone to her room. There's a burning shrine there in her room now with
Ugh.
precariously set candles
Yeah.
on ablaze. And she has just framed you for rape after all these other things.
And beating herself up.
Yeah,
Her face
and-
is all bloodied and
Yeah.
bruised.
and you're going to turn your back and walk away and go look for Cheyenne. She has a stick, which apparently this stick is a catch-all. If you get hit in the back with this stick, you are
it's
knocked
the
out.
Yeah.
well, it's
But,
weird to
like,
me. It's the attic stick,
it's
which
the-
I never had anything like that. There was always like a string that would come down.
Yeah,
But
it
in this
seems
one, it's
weird
like,
because what
it's the
happens if you
attic
lose the
stick.
stick
Yeah.
or your daughter goes crazy and knocks people out with it and
There's
it's gone?
also some good symbolism that I didn't think of till right now in like what she uses to knock him out is like the portal to this adolescent
her-
fantasy.
yes.
Yeah, like
Well,
a
and how the dad can't
prepubescent
get in. The
fantasy.
dad
So
like
brilliant.
isn't man
yeah,
enough
the
to
thing
get
he
in. 'cause
wants
he's
to
like
be in,
short.
he can't access anymore because the one person he thinks raped his daughter and took her innocence is up there
Is up
trying
there.
to.
I
sit-
did that scene of him just like he just can't reach it. I remembered that
Yeah.
because it was like it's such a
then he
frustrating
does
thing for
get
him.
it.
He does such a good job of like
Yeah.
jumping and then he's trying to reach it and then
Yeah.
it's like it is like he's not man enough to get up there.
But then he does.
It's weird that they
Well, he's gotta
make those
stack a bunch
those,
of things.
those
Oh, does he?
loops that
Yeah,
small.
he has to like stack
Yeah.
things to get up there.
Oh, I
'Cause
don't
he's
remember
too
that. I thought he
short.
just reached it and got it
No,
down.
he has to go get some stuff to stand
Yeah,
on.
he's standing on like a
Ah,
little step stool
okay.
type of thing or
Mhm.
whatever,
Okay,
and
I
you
didn't
think it
remember
might
that.
And he's like on the
fall.
tip, and it's like leaning as he's like.
As he gets it. Okay,
Mhm.
okay, that's a good detail. A question for you at the very end. They lead us to believe that she's doing this again. She's now fallen. She's in a psych ward, and her caretaker or whatever,
doctor.
somebody,
Sure,
one of the
doctor.
doctors.
How does
who-
she get a picture? I guess from
That's
his
a good
office.
question. She probably
Yeah,
swiped
that's
it,
what
yeah.
I thought. Because he seems to be giving her special privileges because she's
He
like all
does.
alone.
Which he
Yes.
should know better.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Do you think that it works on him, or do you think he's like very aware of why she's in this place in the first place?
No, I think it's working. That whole thing where he's like, "Don't worry, once other people see how changed you are." Like,
Yeah.
I think he's bought it hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
Or
That
is
wife
this a
better watch
condemnation
out.
of adult men who are like using the privilege of their adultness and their hotness to like validate themselves by flaming the interest of a young
Yeah.
psychotic girl?
He does seem into it.
Guys love attention from hot girls.
Yeah.
I've learned. I don't, but I've learned it
I
from
feel like even you
observing.
like attention.
I like attention. I like attention from hot people, of course.
Same for me, hot people. I
Guys,
mean, people in
just
general,
just
but
beware of underage hot people, okay? Let's keep.
I've literally made people send me pictures of their driver's license before I'll even like consider meeting them
That's
for
smart.
coffee.
yeah. Good on you.
Yeah.
Who do you guys think you are in this movie?
God, I want so bad to be Amy, but I think
I
I'm
knew
probably
it.
like the Amber character, the Cheyenne.
Who did you guys think? When I watched it again, I thought that's Lauren Ambrose. I was sure it was Lauren Ambrose,
Oh.
but it's not her. It's Amber Tamblyn, obviously.
Amber
But then I
I
looked it
didn't
up.
realize it was Amber Benson until the credits.
She
Oh.
looks so much like a young Lauren Ambrose.
I see
and
that.
Lauren Ambrose stars in Can't Hardly Wait,
Yes.
as we all know, and Amber Benson has an uncredited
Yeah,
part
she's
in
high,
that
a
movie.
crying
She's
girl.
the high girl.
Oh, hi girl,
And
right.
I thought how
I love
sadly
that movie.
ironic that she is in the movie that the girl she looks like, who is
Oh.
at the same point in her, she's at the same basic age in her career. They look kind of very similar. And Lauren is starring in the movie, and she gets an uncredited
Yeah.
cameo.
But then she gets Buffy. She's
Yeah.
fine.
Which
I
I've
know.
never really
got a
seen
big part.
Buffy, so I don't know that she's in Buffy until now. I do, but
it's
like
good to
Yeah.
know that
it's
she
good
gets
to know that
She's
she
Willow's
has
girlfriend.
she has a future.
Yeah. Who are you in The Crush? I don't know who I am either.
There are certainly times when I'm Darian rather, or
Yeah.
Adrian. I've never gotten that extreme, but like certain, when you have a crush on someone, you're like,
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Even
I
when you're
remember being,
validated
like,
by
into
them.
Guys in like middle school.
And the writing of the
yeah,
initials,
middle
I
school,
relate to.
definitely more of a middle school thing, and not
Yeah.
a 36
Yeah,
year old.
when you're in
thing.
14,
Yeah.
when you're 14 and 15.
Yeah, at her age, I was not as psychotic and destructive in that same way, but I certainly fell hard. And it wasn't love. It was just like an insane, intense crush that was all consuming where like I couldn't think.
Oh, yeah.
we haven't talked about crushes, like the subject
Yeah.
of this movie.
Oh, I
yeah.
remember having this where it's like, if I love him so much, I'm going to die.
I
Yeah,
still
this
have them.
feeling.
Not I'm gonna die, but like I don't even know if I call them crushes, but like when you're interested in someone or they're interested back and whatever, like
It's like
Yeah.
infatuation.
yeah, and you get like
Yes,
a little
obsession.
obsessive, and like
Mhm.
I'm more
Checking your
self-destructive than destructive to them, but
Mm-hmm.
I definitely am like, are they on Instagram? Did they sign into the app? Are
Right.
they like could they possibly still be asleep? Are they really at work? Have they not checked
Oh,
their phone
I remember
yet?
in
Like
middle
are
school.
they playing games with me on purpose? Like
You'd call in star 67 so they wouldn't see your
Yeah.
number.
Oh, yeah.
And then just hang up when
Yeah.
they answered.
Oh, I would listen. You don't hang up and they answer. You have to
No.
hear them.
Yeah, but you know what I
You
mean.
wait till
Like
they
after
hang
they
up.
say hello,
'Cause
hello,
you gotta
or
listen to their
whatever.
voice. I also would do like star 67 with one phone and then call somebody else on another phone, and you'd hold one upside down so that they could hear each other. And then it's like, no, you called me. That was
oh
fun.
yeah, sure.
And toilet paper their houses.
Oh, you guys are such bad girls. You're so
Bad girls. Well, I want to
Mature.
say before we forget, we're in February now,
Mhm.
and
My
we
birthday
chose.
month.
Oh, when's your birthday?
February 23rd.
All right.
Happy early
Pisces,
birthday.
Happy early
realness. Thank
birthday.
you so much.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
kicking
It's
off
also
the
my
love
twin's
month.
birthday.
This is the love month.
Oh, happy birthday to your twin. What a coincidence.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. That's so weird that you were
Easy
born
for
the
you to
same day.
remember.
Yes.
But yeah, we're going for a Valentine's Day theme this month, watching a lot of love movies, or in this
Love
case,
gone wrong.
infatuation movies.
I mean, when doesn't love go wrong? Sorry.
Yeah. When does
Well,
love go
also-
Sorry,
wrong?
Amir.
What did you guys think? Okay, so she's perfect in this, but I did read that Reese Witherspoon was in consideration for
Yes, I
Yes,
read that too.
me
And
too.
Fairuza Balk
Yes.
of the
Craft.
aforementioned favorite, The Craft
Yeah.
and Return to Oz. This woman permeates our horror.
I don't think anyone else could play this
Psyche.
part, but I would have been curious to see Reese Witherspoon because, like, from Man in the Moon and stuff, she was so innocent looking.
It also would
That
have been
I
a great
wonder if
companion
it-
piece to Fear.
I was just thinking the same thing, which we're also doing this
which
month.
is
Yes.
the male version of this.
Yeah.
Which we also didn't get in Fear. They do the great scene where he's beating his chest, and then he's like,
yeah.
"The dad hit me," and we don't get the scene of her smacking
Right, we
her
just
face,
see
Which-
aftermath.
which I wish we
Why
did.
isn't that in there?
Ugh,
Like, was
I
he
love
afraid it
those
was too
scenes.
campy? Like, there are lots of
for
scenes I
like
would
running
have
into a
loved
wall
to
or
see.
something.
Yeah.
Oh, I would have loved it. There's a great, no spoilers for who it is, but there is a great thing in Scream 4, if you haven't seen Scream 4, where somebody
And I
beats
haven't.
themselves up to say that I was beat up. And the scene of that person doing it is amazing.
Oh, that's
And it's
cool.
like,
I
I
have to watch
wanted to
it.
see
Me too.
Alicia Silverstone like running into the door handle or something.
Right.
Like, because you know she would have sold it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I do
she's
wanna
so
see
good
it. I
at
wonder
it.
if those
Yeah.
are deleted
I
scenes.
mean, any excuse also just to hear one of her squeals or screeches again. They're so unique. They're
amazing.
so
I know.
good. I mean, somebody
She's
make
great.
a meme of this, or
Or
one
write
of the
something for
things.
her now.
Well,
What?
I think it's too late.
Why?
She's done.
No.
Well, she
She-
does cookbooks and stuff.
She's cookbooks. She
No, she's-
breastfeeds.
No, she's
Vegan,
on. She's
vegetarian.
on
No,
a
she's on
Paramount
a show. Yeah.
What
Yeah,
show?
I
with
would-
Mina Suvari.
Oh
Oh.
wow.
American Woman.
I would love for her to have a new burst of career.
I would too.
Yeah, she was
She
on
was-
that show
Maybe she
last year. I
doesn't
don't know
want
if
it.
it's coming back, but she was the star of that show.
I love that.
I would like to say, as we're gearing up to sign off, that none of us are fucking each other. Yet
So
this was
true.
a very love-filled episode. So even if you're single, whatever, love yourself, love someone else. Happy Valentine's month. It's all a gimmick and it's all commercial and it's all dumb.
Make
but
somebody lemonade.
make someone some lemonade. Light some candles beneath someone's house.
Yeah, the real erotic thriller is between you and yourself.
That's right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well said.
How the hell can you love somebody else to death unless
If you're
you
not
love
obsessed
yourself
with
to death?
yourself.
Yeah, if you're not violently, criminally obsessed
Narcissistic.
with
Yeah.
yourself.
Right cocksucker on your car.
Yeah.
Carve
let
it.
cocksucker
Really
on your
go
own
Carve
for
car.
it.
cocksucker on you. I mean,
Rewrite your own article.
I think it's implied on my car, but I should write it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
I
a
do love
silver
the
Prius.
next scene though, where he just has that like cover. He just tapes the thing
Yeah.
over.
And it
I
looks
love that
fine.
too. It's
like-
relatable.
He's not gonna repaint it.
No, she's gonna just do it again.
Yeah, there's a lot of attention paid to the car early on, and then it disappears.
Yeah.
About how
Yeah.
much he loves that car.
Yeah.
Maybe she's trying to out him. Why did she choose cocksucker?
I think it's because that's like what was written on his car.
That's
In
true.
real life.
Well, not quite. It was something
Right.
that involved cock.
Yeah, what was
It was like 3 words.
You suck cock or something.
Yeah, I think that might have
Yeah.
been it.
So then they were like, "That's too long. Well, what if we combine it?"
Yeah.
It's probably more letters, cocksucker.
Yeah, it said Alan sucks cock.
Or it's the
Yeah.
same,
It's
it's
carved
one
onto his
letter
car.
less.
Yeah. It's just economical.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a funny.
Production was like, this is a red flag. We have to shorten this.
Yeah. Do you want to promote anything?
No, I mean, I'm single, so you should obviously get at me.
Yeah.
With
How
some
do they get at
marzipan.
you?
Oh,
Yeah.
get at me with marzipan. Oh.
How can they find you to do so?
Well, I'm on social media. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you know about social media.
I've heard of it.
Oh, we're on it.
Oh, nice.
This
Well,
podcast is.
I'm at Brendan, please. You
On
know,
everything?
Brendan,
Twitter,
please.
Instagram?
Yes, Twitter and
Oh.
Instagram. Facebook is my name, but
Mhm.
you don't get to add me unless we're friends.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can
Are you
add
on
me, it's
dating
fine.
apps?
I am on dating apps.
Keep an eye out for Brendan who loves marzipan and has red hair.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, just keep tabs on me, you know?
Mhm.
Follow my career,
Mm-hmm.
former and future.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you were there then,
Yeah.
Mhm.
we were here
Mhm.
now.
We are here now.
Yeah.
I
We
think it's
discovered
gonna be-
Alicia Silverstone.
We did it.
Discovered each other.
Hey, do you want to tell people why they should why they should rate and review and give us 5 stars and write nice things?
Because it's a cool person thing to do. Are you a cool person? If you've listened to the podcast, presumably you like it. And I think we all have to recognize that things don't just happen by magic. You know, there's a lot of podcasts out there. Let's be real.
All right. That's Brendan saying, be real.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for being a guest.
Thank
on
you
this
so
movie
much.
that I was dying to
I've
do.
got a crush on this movie. I got a crush on you guys.
We're all crushing on
We're
each
crushing,
other.
and
Oh,
that's why
yeah.
they should crush on this podcast.
Okay. Bye.
Yay.
Oh, I love this movie, guys.
It's so good.
It's so good. It makes me happy.